Welcome back to Blast the Process, everybody. I am your host, Kick-Ass Pancakes, for this early morning shift. I am here with FroobMcGuffin for Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. How you doing today, man?
Not great. I was going to apologise before the run starts. I'm feeling very under the weather at the minute. Got one of those nasty wintry colds, so I will do my best not to be all blare on stream.
Alright, sounds good. So without any further delay, just let me know when to start the timer if you want to do a countdown for me, and we'll get started.
Sure, right. Well, you see very briefly, actually, that I'm here in-game at first, because we found out very, very recently, within like the last 2-3 weeks, that because the game has two main maps, of which you'll see very, very soon, by starting the game in the second map, it actually loads up the start of the game a lot quicker. So we want to basically do that and cache the map up real quick. So here. The nice thing about this game is it has auto-saves, which no other Yakuza game has, so thank goodness for that. Anyways, run is going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. I've got my own splits going on the side real quick, just because we've got a kind of new route going at the minute. I did this run, I've been doing this run since the Western release back in April of this year, and basically, when I did a run at ESA in July, and ever since ESA in July, as soon as that run finished, I actually had some ideas about really optimizing the run some more, and we actually managed to save about 7 to 8 minutes. So you'll see over the course of the run, I'll go into more detail when we get there. The first hour of the run is going to be like quite similar. First of all, we have to, this is basically a tutorial. Doesn't matter if you get knocked down by Nagamo there, as long as you do one dodge. Basically, going to follow the tutorial, it's always the same set tutorial. I'm intentionally leading Nagamo over here, so that I can grab these spikes and do a little bit of damage to him. You can't actually finish him off until you're done with the entire tutorial, but I do like to do a bit of damage beforehand. Next up, the heat attack. You have to wait a second for your heat to generate. You have to be in a large open area to be able to do the actual heat attack. So I basically, what I did there at the end, let's concentrate for a second. I basically hit him down to basically 1 HP before doing the extreme heat. With the extreme heat, and you'll see it a lot later on, the extreme heat basically has extra kind of set of special attacks attached to the end of it. By making it so that I basically got him down to 1 HP, basically only 1 or 2 punches were needed to actually like take out him, Nagamo. You'll see him soon. And basically, yeah. So to kind of sum up, a little awkwardly, at the last BTP I ran Yakuza 0, which was on the old engine, and I'll describe the differences between the two engines in a little bit, because there's actually, this new engine is very nice for a lot of things, especially speedrun wise. But basically, last BTP I ran Yakuza 0, which is the start of Kiryu's story. I'm now running Yakuza 6, which is the end of Kiryu's story. If you're around tomorrow, I will be running Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is the second part of Kiryu's story. Technically the third part, actually, now. But basically, I'm not going to go like too much into spoilers for the older games, but Yakuza 6 basically takes place at literally after the events of Yakuza 5. The tutorial mission that we had at the very start was ahead in time a little bit. We'll be back there in about 30 minutes-ish. But basically, after the tutorial, you get basically shown that Kiryu's looking after a kid, and that's basically supposed to set up for the rest of the game that we don't have the kid just yet. But events of Yakuza 5 happened, won't go into spoilers, because hopefully we'll be getting the PS4 remaster in the West, and I know there's a few people who are waiting on that before they jump into the rest of the series, obviously. But basically, to kind of say a little bit, Kiryu basically ends up in the hospital. Kiryu then gets arrested as kind of a front by the police to stop a big old, like, Yakuza war breaking out, blah, blah, blah. It's very political and kind of like, something's up. And everybody, like, says that something is basically up. Haruka is basically, Kiryu's, for ease of it, let's just say adopted daughter. in Yakuza 3, they opened this orphanage, and basically 3 years ago, or no, 2.5 years ago, she visited Kiryu in prison. Then a whole bunch of, like, tabloid stuff started talking about how the orphanage is a place that's growing Yakuza, etc. Like, it's a whole load of crap. Haruka takes it quite personally and disappears. We come back 2.5 years, so 3 years later after Kiryu's got out of hospital after the events of Yakuza 5. I didn't mean to walk there. Nice. This indoor bits are really hard to actually navigate, unfortunately. But basically, Kiryu's come back. Haruka's gone missing. He's talking to all the kids to see like how they're doing, etc. You'll only see them here. You have to speak to all of them before you can actually progress, which is a shame. And then he decides to phone a person called Akiyama. Akiyama is an old friend of his, who was introduced in Yakuza 4. And he was basically Haruka's kind of semi-guardian when Kiryu wasn't around. And we can't get hold of Akiyama either. So, yet again, Kiryu has to go back to Kamurocho. Kamurocho is basically the city where... Kamurocho is the main city of the Yakuza-verse. Basically, pretty much every single game, bar spin-offs, although some spin-offs do feature it, are all set in Kamurocho. And it changes per game. Like, you'll get, like, little differences here and there. But Yakuza 6 is the biggest one to have a difference. First of all, we have these interactable vending machines. These interactable vending machines all have drinks inside. You can see that I just had a drink called Poseidon Power. Now, Poseidon Power, they all grant you different effects. Poseidon Power is one of the most important ones because it grants us unlimited sprint, which is useful for the most part. And you'll see what grants us our attack in a second. For some reason, I always forget that's one of these that's not skippable. But one of the really nice things, apart from the ragdolls and the physics, one of the nice things about this new engine is that pretty much 95% of cutscenes are skippable. If you remember with my run of Yakuza 0 at the last BTP, there were certain cutscenes, like a certain game of Mahjong, that weren't skippable and basically just, like, wasted about 2 minutes. But in this one, pretty much everything is skippable outside of multiple choice like this. Which means that any runs in this new Dragon engine are actually a lot faster. Like, way faster than the older engine. So, we need to go and grab something ahead of time. We're going to need a bento for a homeless person. So we're going to grab that now. And we're also going to grab a lot for ourselves. This is technically supposed to be safety straps because this is as safe as we can make for the new straps that we've found. So all the vending machines are the same, apart from the different color vending machines. The blue ones have different kind of drinks, and some of the red ones also have different kind of drinks. You'll see that I just grabbed a yellow one. It's called CC Lemon. It's an actual, genuine, real product. I've had it myself. It's absolutely gorgeous, actually. But CC Lemon gives you a base 40% attack buff. Base 40%. It's absolutely huge. And you saw very briefly there that we had the ability to raise our stats, just like, you know, an RPG. We'll be mostly concentrating on attack and putting the rest of our experience into moves. I'll go over them when we get to them. We won't have a upgrade for about 25 minutes. You can see that I'm kind of like staggering my run here because we don't have the effects of Poseidon Power, and there were enemies actually chasing us that you can see on the mini-map. When that really like kind of deep bassy music kicks in, you've been spotted by enemies, and if they catch up to you, you get into a random fight. For the most part, all the Yakuzas we've optimized to the point where we don't need any optional fights. With some Yakuzas like Yakuza 0, you have ways of dealing with the actual random spawns. With the newer engine, there's less ways. That's a real bad spawn. So I'm going to deal with it in the one way that we can, which is run up to a vending machine, interact with it, and the enemy spawn disappears. That's actually important for certain aspects because there are 2 types of triggers for story segments. There's an area trigger like the one that we just hit, aka you go into an area and it triggers the next part, or what we call a door trigger. A door trigger is essentially a confirmation prompt. If you're in the middle of a fight, you can't do any confirmation prompts on the map. So you can't interact with vending machines, you can't interact with taxis for fast travel and stuff like that. I really want this sign to be able to hit these guys. That's not a good spread. I want to hit these guys while they're mostly all together. Nice guard. So these are the Psyop Triad. I'll get to them story-wise in a bit, but as far as like combat NPC goes, they're pretty much on the quite high dodge and guard rate side. So unlike normal like Yakuzas that are running around town, these guys like to guard and dodge fairly more. So they're kind of annoying. We want ways to be able to deal with them in any fight that we can get, basically. We have to go all the way back to Serena. We don't have the stamina just yet to make that in one go, so we'll despawn those enemies, grab ourselves a Poseidon Power from them, it's sprint, and then run over. But basically, we're after Akiyama, and we've learned that the Psyop Triad are also after Akiyama. The Psyop Triad have not been in a Yakuza game before. They moved into Kamurocho when... At one point during Kiryu's tenure in prison, there was a big fire in an area called Little Asia that housed a whole bunch of like Chinese residents. And basically, in the aftermath of that, we see some shady individuals who may or may not have caused this, and then the Psyop Triad have moved in on that territory. So they've got a foothold in Kamurocho now. One of the cutscenes that we... Ooh, that second follow on that hit there actually did really good. For the most part, you just want to grab a weapon here and take care of these as quickly as you can. But from that result, the Psyop Triad have moved in on Kamurocho, so Kamurocho isn't wholly Tojo owned anymore. The Tojo are the big Yakuza clan in Tokyo. The Omi, for reference, are the big Yakuza clan over in Osaka. They'll get mentioned one or two times, but you won't really see them in this game. You will in tomorrow's Kiwami 2 run. They're the big focus in tomorrow's Kiwami 2 run. But basically, this is causing tensions to flare, and one of the things that you didn't see was a lovely lad called Ed. He is a high-ranking member of the Psyop Triad who basically tells the Tojo that they will not stay in Little Asia, and that they will expand however they want. You'll be seeing Ed real soon. So, we've come here to find Akiyama, as said. We need to give a bento over to this lovely homeless man, who is actually hiding the way to the sewers, where Akiyama is hiding out. So you can see at the top left here, you can see that the duration there, that's how long our CC Lemon attack buff lasts for. For the most part, we're going to be one-shotting enemies for the first, like, hours. It's going to start getting very dangerous, especially with our new strats about an hour in. And I'll start pointing that out when we get to it. But we find Akiyama. Instead of being a lone shark, he's now gone back to his homeless route. Here's Ed and his amazing battle theme. So ideally, with the first hit, I'll take care of one or two of the ads. On the second hit, we'll hit Ed. For this next hit, ignore Ed and try and take care of the ads. Because one hit will get Ed into his next phase. Normally Akiyama deals with him, but we were close enough that we could do it. Some of the cool cutscene QTEs that the Yakuza series has. And you'll be seeing a bit more of Ed later on. You'll be able to experience more of his amazing theme way later on. Because Ed is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love the guy. He's ruthless and he has no chill. And we're going to give him PTSD for chairs. But as we come out of the sewers, Kiryu gets a phone call from the god taxi? Excuse me with this RNG right now? So basically, along the top part of Kamurocho, vehicles actually go through, and one random spawn can be a taxi. And taxis are fast travel. And we need to fast travel to Toto Hospital. So that actually is an amazing stroke of luck. Wow. Oh wow, that's actually amazing. That's only saved us like about 5-10 seconds, but that's still significant. That's really good, actually. So basically what happened was, after we beat Ed, we came out of the sewer, because Akiyama kind of realizes the Psyop Triad now know where he is, and we get a phone call from our police detective friend, Date, who says that they found Haruka. She has been in a car accident. Somebody has done a hit and run on her, and she was holding on to something before she got hit. A baby boy by the name of Haruto. So Kiryu's now realizing that in the 3 years that he's been in prison, his basically adopted daughter has gone and had a kid with someone, the father isn't around, and somebody's hit and run her. So this begins Kiryu's anger. And angry does Kiryu get. So we want Poseidon Power from limited sprint. Certain cutscenes allow you to keep the drink in your hand. This is one of them, which is nice. We're going to need this Poseidon Power to last as long as possible. And we're going to hope here that the game doesn't load the rest of the map, because if it does, this guy's going to stop this corner. Nice, he didn't. If he stops at this corner, he can stop there for a good 15-20 seconds, and it's completely RNG if he does. It's basically the game loading up. But we need this to last until we go to that taxi over there. But we're locked into chasing this mysterious stalker. This guy was watching us when we were with Date and another police sergeant called Honjo. Driverless car almost hit him there. We catch the suspicious man. He's actually a member of the Tojo clan. The Tojo clan are who Kiryu Kazuma used to be the 4th chairman of. The 6th chairman, Daigo Dojima, is currently in police custody alongside other high-ranking Tojo officials, Majima Goro and Saejima Taiga, who unfortunately, despite the fact that they're fan favourites, you won't be seeing them that much in this game, I'm afraid. So that was a good fight spawn, because that fight spawn was walking the way that we were going, so that means we can get past them a little easier, and you can see that basically our unlimited stamina just ran out. So the suspicious Tojo man told us that he's working for a guy called Somiya, and Somiya is basically the underling of the guy who's taken over while Daigo is in jail, Sagai. Sagai basically says that, you know, at this point Kiryu is a civilian. Like, Kiryu's not part of the Tojo, and basically suggests nicely, quotation marks, that Kiryu should stay out of the way. But Kiryu basically just wants to find what's gone on with Haruka, and he doesn't really care for the Tojo. Like, he's out of the Tojo. Like, he's been out of the Tojo for so long. So we're going to head back to New Serena to hopefully find out if there's new updates. Serena is a very popular place in the Yakuza universe. It's basically Kiryu's kind of hideout. And it's currently owned by the mama who is actually married to Date. So as we step outside here, there's going to be a short side thing. These are guys with a member. Yeah, these guys are gang members of a gang called Justice. Justis. Yes, spelled that way intentionally. They don't matter for now, but they're going to get annoying in about, I think, about an hour or so. You won't see these specific ones again, but you'll see why Justice is annoying soon. We basically just have to get introduced to some side content that's basically been introduced into Yakuza 6. We're going to go over here and we're going to get introduced to a guy who introduces us to the Troubler app. Yes, it is supposed to be a play on Tumblr. But basically, you get these little side missions around town that you can go and help out, like someone's planted a bomb, or the roof is on fire of a building, etc. They're kind of cool little like side activities that you can do, give you a little bit of EXP. For the speedrun, we're not going to be using them, obviously. So, Date has called us to say that there's been a little bit of a problem at the hospital. Akiyama's over there with him. And you can tell I'm getting the attack up drink for a reason. So again, we're going to delay this. We don't have to delay this one too much, but I like delaying this one, just in case. And the nice thing is, anytime you have to taxi to a story important place, it's always the very top option. It's set for in the finale. So it's nice to know because all the taxi list will always stay the same. But basically, Kiryu goes back to the hospital, and there's someone from Child Protection Services. Because Haruka isn't Kiryu's official daughter, you know, they're not related by blood, this guy wants to put Haruto into an orphanage. Kiryu isn't going to allow that, knowing that he was an orphan himself, Haruka was an orphan herself, and Akiyama has to play the good guy and say to Kiryu, please don't do this. Henceforth, why Kiryu and Akiyama get a nice little throw. Unfortunately for Akiyama, Kiryu's angry. And Akiyama really does not stand a chance. And yeah, the baby's sleeping in the back in the room. Just oblivious while all of this is going on. Even poor Akiyama says, you know, this isn't fair, I shouldn't have to fight you, and kind of gives up. And Kiryu absconds with Haruto to stop Child Protection Services from taking him away. So, Kiryu basically tries to... He's not a dad. He's not a dad in the slightest. He goes to the nearest popo and thinks that the best thing to feed a baby is a rice ball. Enter Date. Date helps out, tells Kiryu, you know, this is how you raise a kid. Don't feed it a rice ball. Get it some milk. And whilst he's there, he gives an update on Haruka. Haruka is in a coma. She's not going to be waking up. Her life is in danger. She did have her phone on her. It was severely damaged in the hit and run. However, they managed to pull a picture from it. A picture that was taken in Onamichi over in Hiroshima. Which, that's where we're going to right now. So, Hiroshima is the second map, or Onamichi is the second map. It's an interesting contrast to Kamurocho, because Kamurocho has basically every single minigame except for one, and that one that it doesn't have, you can only find in Hiroshima. So, Hiroshima, and Onamichi specifically, is a very quiet town. There's basically nothing there, and it makes for a nice contrast. It makes for a very, very nice contrast. But Kiryu just basically gets here. We're going to go and gather info from the townfolk. We're going to head over to a bar called Snack Kiyomi, run by the bar mama Kiyomi herself, who's just around this corner. And you can see we've got Haruto with us, obviously. And we're going to meet a lovely gentleman, technically for the first time this time, who we've already met, called Nagamo, a local Yakuza for the Hirose family. And the Hirose family is part of the Yomei house. There's no tutorial holding us back this time. Double-handed weapons are slightly powerfuler than single-handed, so there's two bites over in this corner. We want to try and drag Nagamo over here, and then basically take him out as fast as possible. These cinder blocks as well help out a lot. They're pretty good. Nagamo will usually block a lot though, as shown here, which is great. This bin also works, and when he gets to half HP, he's just a quick over. Nagamo will basically go into his heat mode. We obviously have our own heat mode. His defense, his attack will go up. He will get a few extra little bit of hyper armor. We'll basically just try and end him quickly. He's winding up an attack here, so be careful. Let's go use heat attack. Heat attacks, special attacks, you see those orbs at the top left. As long as you have an orb, you can basically spend one for a heat attack. If you have all of them full, you can use it for your extreme heat instead. So it's a kind of a pick and choose what is best for that situation. Now we're going to do our first upgraded run. We're going to go over here and we're going to get sprint, because sprint is very necessary right now. We're going to go into battle skills. We're going to get dash, attack, combo speed, and charge attack. And then we're going to pump the rest into attack. It's not a lot at this stage, but it'll help. Then we're going to go and pick up Haruto from Kyomi's bar. She was holding on to him whilst we dealt with Nagamo and his crap. We get into a conversation. She realizes that Kiryu has nowhere to live right now, because he's literally just come into town. And because it's a quiet town, there's not going to be any like accommodation open, no hotels or anything like that, and they're all outside of town. So she's going to put us into contact with Ino here. Ino has a place next to the docks. Now, we're literally, this looks a bit weird. You can see we're pushing into Ino. By doing that, it actually pushes him forward a bit. We can't run ahead of him because his AI will stop, so we do have to push him to make him go just that little bit faster. And, boy, we are getting into an infamous bit that we like to call Shake the Baby. Try and guess why it's called Shake the Baby. I hope everybody here likes gyro controls. Because this bit is, oh boy. But Ino is basically going over a little bit of backstory. Freeway tussle for Kiyomi. Ino likes her. Nagamo likes her. But Nagamo is a loudmouth Yakuza, etc. Shake the baby. We gotta shake the baby. If we don't shake the baby, it's slow. You can kind of tell how fast you've gone with his speech here. That's okay. It's not too fast. But as soon as we get here, Kiryu's ability as a father manifests themselves as being quite bad. Kiryu didn't get extra milk. And now it's time for baby rage, because Haruto is crying. So we have to go and find milk. Only one of these NPCs actually leads you to the place you need to go, which is this one, ironically enough, that's furthest away. And difficulty level of the game does affect the frequency of how often this happens. And by this, I mean the event you're going to see very, very soon. We did a story replay on Legend, and it happened a tiny bit more frequently. So if you take your time too much, you'll get too many of these. But still, let's check the baby. Haruto has 4 tells. You have to correspond on the motion or gyros to whatever tell it is. I believe this is Opsy Daisy, right? This is one of them that I can't tell. You don't want Robs. Robs is awful because you have to rob the touchpad and it takes forever for him to notice. I want to say that's Opsy Daisy. Jeez. I can't tell Opsy Daisy because he kind of does a mixture of lift and Robs. That looks like Robs. So you can see how long that I was actually like doing him for. An ideal one of those finishes at 136. So 127 is awful. So we literally lost 10 seconds to that because we just got awful pan. For the most part, as long as you're quick enough, you will only have to do this twice. The second one of this will happen in a little bit, and that one, and it's not an ironclad rule, but usually you will get only lift and shake for the second, which is very nice because you can go very fast. Right? So we went to the barbers. They don't have any milk, so we're now off to see Kiyomi to see if she has any, considering she runs with the bar. And unfortunately, she does not. But she says she goes and phones Ino, and Ino says that the barbershop just had a kid themselves. So we're going to go and see if they have any spare milk. One thing to note on the right-hand side here, that is one of only 2 places to get CC Lemon in this entire town. So we're going to be utilizing that a lot. One of the reasons why we did a sprint upgrade as well is our stamina is actually being used here, even though we can't actually, like run properly with Haruto. You still use your stamina. Look at this. Look at this. Good baby. Double lift and a swing. Very good. Very, very good. Much better than the first one. So now we're going to go over to the barbershop, and there's going to be a local Yakuza miscreant doing his business on the wall house. So we're going to do what any respectable civilian, definitely not ex-Yakuza, would do. We're going to run in front of him to bait out an attack because he has a disgusting amount of dodge, and then we're going to hit him in the face with a flat. Because why wouldn't you? You know? She thankfully gives us some milk, and now we go back. Unfortunately, that's the only instance of gyro controls in the entire series. And let me tell you now, they are overly sensitive. Like, you can start Robs and slightly, and I mean ever so slightly, move the controller and it counts as lift. The gyro controls are ridiculous. But thankfully, this is the only place they're really used. Apart from, like, optional stuff, like with the baseball minigame that's in the game, you can use the touchpad instead, which is quite useful, actually. So, Kiryu basically really doesn't know how to be a dad. Haruto didn't want milk. He just wanted to sleep. So, Kiryu is now learning how to be a dad. But this gets him a bit closer to Kiyomi. We're now going to go gather info on Haruka. We're going to intentionally stick to this side of the road because there is a spawn fight there. If we get close to it, we have to do that fight. Then we're going to move over to the other side of the road because there's one just over there that you can see. And we're going to go see Kiyomi again. We'll be running down this alleyway quite a bit during this run as well. It's one of the quicker ways through. And in this part specifically, you don't have random encounters. They're all set places, which is nice. Nagamo comes along and basically says, you know, don't go near Kiyomi, get out of town, blah, blah, blah. The bar's not open. So we're gonna go play some baseball as thanks to Ino for giving us the apartment to be able to sleep in. One thing to note, even though we have a hand free, when you have Haruto, you cannot get any vending machine drinks, which is annoying because a CC Lemon right now would go a long way. That 40% attack buff is going to go a long way because we're about to get a multi-boss fight. So we'll meet with Kiyomi. We're going to play baseball. There's a hilarious... Basically, Nagamo and two of his Hirose family boys, Yuta and Matsunaga, and you'll recognize Yuta if you've ever watched the Battle Royale movies, or the Netflix, the Japanese live-action Death Note movie. Basically, Nagamo's been taking out all the opposition players with dirty, aggressive play. Oh, I hate that bitch. He always does it. I'm actually going to use my extreme heat here to show you what happens when you do the full combo. Nagamo has the most defense out of all of them. This is the longest attack you can get off the Divas. This is actually really good for this fight. Because Nagamo will now go into his heat mode. Actually, it's really good for Matsunaga as well. Cancel it ahead of time. He's definitely in his next phase. They're going to go into heat. So they're going to be stronger, etc. But two of them now only have one hit to go down. Thankfully, one of those is Nagamo, because Nagamo is one of the worst ones in this fight. And we take down Yuta, who, as you saw there, now has more hyper armor because of heat. They get really annoying. So you want to try and get them to as low HP as possible. A nice charge attack like that actually helps out a lot. I mean, sucker. Running triangle attacks like that are pretty good. Those QTEs, that one specifically is. There is a different variation on one of the extreme heats that is random. There's two more basically that can come off. One of them which is a spam square, one of which is a spam triangle, which you will 100% see in this run because it's the one that is least blocked. At some point, bosses will start blocking those special extreme heat moves, which is kind of annoying. But if you use the strong variation, that's the one that gets blocked the least. So you'll be seeing me use that one a bit more. It's also the fastest one, and the medium damage one, not the most. That one that we just had was the most damage, and actually that one is the perfect one for Nagamo. So that's really nice. But that one that you saw is 100% set. It's always square, triangle, circle, square, triangle, circle. And then the next one, which you probably won't see, is random. And then the light one is square and the heavy is triangle, but you'll see which one I mean when we get there. So basically, they've gone off in a half after the baseball game, because obviously we beat them. And now we're going to get to the point where the start of the game happened, which is here. So here we go and beat up Nagamo. We come back in, feed Haruto, and then this lovely gentleman comes along. His name is Masazoe. He is a higher ranking official in the Yome Alliance, who is also part of who the Hirose family is. And this is where the run now diverts from the ESA run that I did earlier in the year. What we want to do now is intentionally go to two different saves. Or safes even. Saves? That's wrong. These different safes have pieces of equipment in them, and they're always set. So we want to go for two specific ones, and they're both in Onamichi, thankfully. Now, these pieces of equipment are a little dangerous, as I'll show you why in a second. The first one is the bloody Fundoshi. Don't question it. And the second one that we're going to be getting in a second is the Bloody Binder. Now, Yakuza Kiwami 2 introduces equipment sets. There aren't equipment sets in this, but the actual properties of both of these items that we're getting change this run exponentially. In a good way and in a very, very horrific way. So, thankfully, the safe keys are always right next to the safes. So we want that safe, and the safe key is, thankfully, right there. Just in someone's letterbox, as you do. And yes, that's a grenade on the floor. Behind Kiri, you'll see it on the right here in a second. Yup. The way that Yakuza 6, because you can't hold equipment like some of the other Yakuza games, it basically litters them all around the world. But you'll see here as I equip them, notice our defense went down to 50. Your defense goes from... Whoops, I do want a CC lamina here, excuse me. Your defense goes from the base 100 stat, and it gets cut in half. Completely in half. So you go from having full defense to having less than half of the default defense. And we don't get defense or HP in this run. At one point, I believe it's chapter 7 onwards, bosses start being able to kill you in one combo. These are new strats that we found out. This is what we call our red tear stone. If you've ever seen Dark Souls run, red tear stone, you get to low HP and you do more damage. Essentially, you don't need to get to low HP, but we now do an absolute metric ton of damage at the expense of our HP and defense. So, we're intentionally aiming for Master Zoe because his mid-fight QTE, and if a boss has a mid-fight QTE, you have to watch them for the most part, with the exception of Master Zoe. Master Zoe's mid-fight QTE basically reses all the ads around him. Henceforth, we beat Master Zoe first, and for some reason, the game allows it. So we can just beat Master Zoe, and none of the ads come back to life. And that's going to become more important in about 5 minutes' time. Because, spoilers, he's coming back with a few more friends. A lot more friends. And yeah, like Lily says, doing this in Legend is going to be very interesting. In Legend, 100% you're going to have to get attack and defense. Defense and HP. As you will see why when we get to a certain lovely gentleman who goes by the name of Hangman. I'll describe Hangman when we get there. But basically, they were beating up Nagamo because Nagamo, being a subsection of the Hirose, of the Yume Alliance, Hirose family is supposed to collect on debts, etc., and they were behind because Nagamo doesn't want to collect off Kiyomi because fancy so. Because of this, Master Zoe basically went over to extort the money out, and then obviously Nagamo had to take responsibility for not collecting the money. I'm delaying this drink because we need this attack buff to last a long time here. Like, longer than this fight. So, we're basically dealing with the aftermath at the minute, where obviously we dealt with Master Zoe. We met some guy called Koshimizu. You'll see him a lot later. He's the number 2 of the entire Yume Alliance. How that missed, I don't know, but that sometimes happens. But you want to take care of these guys as fast as possible. It's easier to use the furniture. Those bar stools on the left have some of the worst attack pattern I've ever seen in any game ever. You kind of, instead of like using it like a club like you'd expect, you kind of just like throw it down. And it's weird and not good. And there's a lot of bar stools at certain points in this game that I will be intentionally avoiding because I don't want that attack pattern ever, because you barely can hit in front of you. It's awful. So those little bar stools that I used were way better because of the arc they actually do. So we basically saved Nagamo from basically being tortured by Master Zoe. Koshimizu basically sees us and knows that we're the Dragon of Dojima, ex-Tojo 4th chairman, and basically tells us at this point that Nagamo also kind of knew from the beginning. So Nagamo now likes us because we saved him. He's calling us his Anarchy, you know, blood brother, etc., etc. We're gonna get a whole bunch of cutscenes here, a whole bunch of like little bit of building between like Kiryu, Nagamo, etc., etc. And basically, we're gonna decide from that to obviously in the next day, go and ask the Hirose family about Haruka, because obviously she was in on Amici at some point. We've now, met the locals in typical Kiryu fashion. Now, remember when I went on that side of the street before? We're going on this side intentionally now, because as soon as you're done with baseball, as in story baseball, minigame baseball appears. Anytime that we're not locked into a story segment, if we go onto that side of the street, we will actually get sucked into a baseball minigame that will take up a whole bunch of time. This is one of those points where if we get the God Taxi, it's really good, because obviously running with Haruto is a lot slower than running normally with Kiryu. So you can basically taxi over to Hananokubo here, which isn't exactly outside of the Hirose family office, but it's close enough. And if you have a God Taxi right at the start, you save yourself like 30 seconds of running up here. But it's still faster to taxi to here than to run up here with Haruto. So we basically show them the picture of Haruka, and we basically ask them if they've ever seen her before, to which the reply is, no. AKA, everybody is a really bad liar. We kind of know that they've seen Haruka, but we're playing along with it for now. Now, as a consequence of yesterday's actions, there's a whole bunch of Yomei Alliance out for our blood. So we're now locked into a certain segment where we can't go down certain pathways. You can see ahead of us there's now certain enemy spawns. You can get into these fights if you want, but the actual fastest way to go is still the way the game wants you to go. So funnily enough, it's actually quicker to just take the normal pathway. So obviously that's what we're just going to do. And this is obviously the reason why we want to keep our attack buff, is because we have a fight coming up any second now, once we go into the other part of the mall over here. And you can see certain parts are blocked off by the cars like that, so you have to go this way. Otherwise we could have cut through there, etc, etc. That'll happen at various points. You'll get shepherded down certain routes that you have to go down, unfortunately. Here's a bunch of guys. Welcome to Bike Strats. Bike Strats is aptly named because you basically grab a bike and hit people with it. It's not rocket science. It's a wonderful strat. We came up with it a very, very long time ago. A staple strat in the Yakuza games. You literally pick up a bike and you hit someone with it. And it works. And it's great. Now, unfortunately, the fight that we need the CC Lemon to last for is going to come up in about a minute's time. And there's no way at this current stage in time for us to be able to have the CC Lemon buff last that long. So we're going to have to mix it up a little bit. Once we've gone to the shrine at the top here, and the shrine has special... You can do some certain things with the shrine. There's, you can get, extra EXP for certain... Your EXP is basically split up into 5 different parts. And you can basically use the shrine on the left here to be able to, allocate it to, oh, hey, give me some extra in this one, for example. But we don't need that during the run. We get everything that we basically need. And we're going to have a sub-story here. One of the most amazing thing about the Yakuza games is the sub-stories on the side. These sub-stories are all funny little, inter-bits that you do alongside the main plot that, they're little light-hearted moments. They showcase, the human side of things, blah, blah, blah. There's one in a bit that we have to make sure we definitely say no to, because otherwise we lose 2 minutes. But we're going to grab this Shoryu bit. Now, alcohol gives you extended enemy aggression. You can see our alcohol level on the left. If you're max drunk, which at first I believe is 6 without upgrades, you actually start staggering around. So don't get drunk. And also you build your heat up faster. But the more important one about the Shoryu beer, you will see very briefly in the top left that it's not actually a bar of time. It's a number. Basically, we now have an attack buff for a set number of attacks. This is going to come into play in a little bit. This is the only accessible, basically, attack drink that we can get for this fight. It's not as much damage as the CC11. Takashiro has slightly more defense, so aim for him first. But if you get them both with one hit, absolutely beautiful. So, Master's always back. Matsunaga's gone to make amends. He's probably going to have a pinky cut off, etc., etc. We're going to stop that from happening. I usually go down this pathway, even though it's slower, because this is a very high spawn. We are getting ourselves a CC enemy here. And you have to be careful because the trigger is quite far here. And again, same as Master Zoe 1, take care of him before we take care of all the ads. That way he doesn't revive them, and he's bought a few friends this time. Again, bike strats. Everybody topples like dominoes. But this last one, as long as we don't hit everybody, we can then take care of like the actual group. I was hoping that would kill him, but well. The drop kick that I got, and you see me using, this is the same attack pattern as the bastard, by the way. So you kind of saw how awful that was. Like that swing down just doesn't have the same range as you'd expect it to have. That's Koshimitsu there on the left. You'll see him. You'll see him later. Oh, by the way, left-hand side, if you've also seen the Battle Royale films, yes, that was Beat Takeshi. You'll see him very later. He is Hirose, the member of, basically the patriarch of the Hirose family. He's this lovable, you know, silly guy. He's a bit crazy, he's a bit old, blah, blah, blah. Slightly lost his marbles a bit, but, you know, whatever. It's Beat Takeshi. He's awesome. You know, if you've ever seen a movie with Beat Takeshi, and you can probably tell what's going to happen. But we basically have a heart-to-heart with Nagamo here about, like, after everything that's happened. We decide to actually, like, kind of join the Hirose family, even though, you know, we're not getting back into the Yakuza. But yeah, is it? Yeah, actually, I think it's in this chapter, so I'll hold off on that plot point for now. But our next big level up is going to come in this chapter. We're going to do a specific point to hopefully keep as much experience as possible. And again, there's I keep forgetting his name, but he was the main lead in the Battle Royale, the original Battle Royale. I believe the second one as well. I might be wrong. Unfortunately, if you want a break for a nice little drink or a snack, this is the perfect time to get one. We are in side content territory. It might not look it, but we're kind of locked into a something right now. And we're getting the Shoryu beer because we need an attack buff that lasts past a big long minigame. Here's some members of Justice. They were beating up a guy called Joe. Him over there. We'll see him in a second. Bike strap. Trust me, we're not going to be one-shotting people forever. But basically, Joe was getting beat up. He was an ex-member of Justice. This is the introduction of the minigame Clan Creator. Clan Creator is new to the series in here. You'll see it again tomorrow with Kiwami 2, but the Kiwami 2 one is way better than 6's. Even though it takes longer. Tatsuya Fujiwara, that's correct. Thank you, Lily. But basically, it's essentially a top-down RTS-esque tower defense, but it's more tower defense in Kiwami 2, and it's much better in Kiwami 2. Even though it lasts a lot longer in Kiwami 2. But you'll see that. You'll see that tomorrow. So, Justice have taken that guy on the right, Masao's sister. We gotta get her back by participating in the minigame, blah blah blah. But this is just a way to be able to sort of like show it off. We actually do have strats for this. There is a way to do this fast, a way to do this slow. So we're gonna start the fight. We're gonna send first leader on the right. These guys on the left, they're units that basically you can send infinite amount out. These on the right are your leaders. We want one of our leaders to drag this guy specifically away from this guy, because Joe has a move called the ultimate drop kick. Now we want Joe to go after this guy with the ultimate drop kick. The ultimate drop kick does an amazing amount of damage. You can probably imagine. That's pretty good. That might take him a while. That was too early. Excellent. Hopefully they'll kill him fast. Usually a good time is a 423, so that's kind of bad on my part. I can't believe I did that too early. And yeah, as Ultimate Trainer says, you'll see them exceptionally briefly in a cutscene after this next one. They actually get some real-life wrestlers from the NJPW, and it's the exact same in Kiwami 2 as well. It's a really nice touch, and even better, when you fight them, they have their fight themes. Their actual fight themes. That is absolutely glorious. They even have their moves. Like, if you love the NJPW, excuse me, that's this wintry cold messing with me sinuses again. If you like the NJPW, the little attention to detail, just like with the rest of the Yakuza series itself, is so good. So this guy's got a knife, and we've got two guys with guns. Aim for the guys with guns. We're gonna grab that gun, hopefully. Please don't kick it away. Please don't hit me with the thing. Somewhat brutal. Not dead, by the way. running meme. Definitely not dead. So we save his sister, and then we basically don't have to deal with Clan Creator ever again. Cough. And I'm not talking Kiwami 2, cough. But in a second, we're going to do a big upgrade. And I'm going to go over the exact things that we get, because it's very important at the minute. Don't mention rubber bullets. There's the NJPW. You saw him for a brief second. You've got the likes of Yano Toru, Okada the Rainmaker, etc., etc. The 6 they're all. I think they're under the ban of the 6 lunatics in this one. But you've got the. Oh God, I can't remember what the tag team's name was. But you've got a whole bunch of really famous NJPW. In Kiwami 2 tomorrow, you'll see a certain Chono who does like to just yell, "God damn!" He's so good. He's so good. It's great. But that's basically enough for wrestlers for now. We're back to proper Yakuza plot. If you need a heal, you can do it now, because this is a restaurant. We're going to go into our stats. We're going to intentionally go and get this thing called collateral damage. Damage is increased to any enemies hit by your additional attacks. I'm going to get Regard of They're very important. And I'm going to go down to the bottom of the menu. I probably don't have the experience for this anymore. We're going to get vending machine drink, boost vending machine drink level 1 and 2. Now, then we're going to pump the rest into attack. The important thing about boosting the vending machine drink, and it's not in Kiwami 2, which is a shame, but basically, remember when I said that the CC Lemon was a base 40% attack? Also, this is the sub-story you want to cancel on. If you accidentally accept this, you have to waste 2 minutes speaking to her, and then it also moves into an even worse position. So take that extra second to just make sure you do the right menu here. But basically, CC Lemon now that we've got those extra vending machine upgrades, not only do they last longer, but each vending machine upgrade gives you an extra 10% boost. So now, CC Lemon is doing an extra 60% base attack. That's not a CC Lemon, my dear. That's wrong. That is the wrong drink entirely. That would give us more of that even speed. But we want attack. I was wondering if that actually works. I got a bit too close to the side. If you basically get too close to any confirmation prompt, or you walk into like a piece of scenery or something, Kiryu will stop drinking. So you do have to be a little careful. So we go off to meet Kiyomi, who's going to tell us about Haruka. Except we get rudely interrupted by Somiya, who you didn't see earlier, but he basically introduced us. He's the guy who's working with Sagai as his second in command, whilst Daigo is in jail as the head of, obviously, the Tojo. And Somiya basically takes Kiyomi away because Kiyomi is his ex-wife. So we're off to go and rescue Kiyomi. And you'll see here that Nagamo is a little shocked by this revelation. His actor as well is fantastic. They have a bunch of super well-known famous actors in these games. Like, again, Beat Takeshi. Hey, Beat Takeshi. Right, so the important part about getting collateral is that as of this set piece, and this is our first big set piece of the game, where basically we're going to a map that you won't ever go to normally, and you can't go to normally. Here's a whole bunch of dudes. As of this point, fights now have a lot of dudes in. We're talking like 4+. So basically a lot of like set pieces and stuff like that we basically want collateral to be able to do a whole bunch of damage. Furniture is king. If you can't get to furniture, throwing people is just as good. Also, throwing furniture if you can hit, really good in this game. Surprisingly good. Also, even better, this new engine, NPCs are good. That might sound shocking, but NPCs actually help you a lot in this. So we have to go and search for Kiyomi. Every room has a double trigger. First trigger is the door, second trigger is inside. Some rooms have people in. If we don't take them out, as long as there's only one remaining, we can leave them to nag them. Most of the time. If they're large lads, and you'll see why I call them large lads in a second. There should be one, hopefully, in the last room. If it's not, there's one on the next floor. Nope, no large lad in the last one. You'll see large lads. They're problematic and Nagamo doesn't do the damage. Basically, they have massive HP bars. And they're large lads that like to drop kick. That's why I call them large lads. They've been problematic in the series for a very, very long time. Especially if you speedrun. Because their drop kicks, they can just completely stop whatever you're doing. They will hyper armor drop kick you through whatever you're doing and stagger you. They are wonderful. Here's a large. No, it's not. So that guy we're going to leave to Nagamo. Not Nagamo. Especially this first one. There's a large lad. There's another large lad. You can see that even one of our drop kicks didn't take care of one hit. Nagamo dealt with his guy. That's good. Usually Nagamo is pretty good at dealing with his dudes. Usually. So again, Nagamo. Deal with him. Double large lad. And Nagamo did. Excellent. It's quicker to grab those little tables in this room to deal with them, rather than try and do full combos. So, we can't find Slimer on the first few floors, so he must be in the bath. So, Yuta, Matsunaga, and Takashira, they're going to deal with that guy. Cough. Whilst us and Nagamo, we're going to go off and find Somiya. Now, in harder difficulty settings, there aren't healing items for you to pick up in these set pieces apart from one full heal, which is actually very nice that they give it to you. I'm fairly certain this is a very slight reference to Yakuza-ish. But, poor dude. So whilst our attack buff is still with this specific set of enemies, there is one enemy that's kind of a mini-boss, and we want to make sure he dies. That guy in the middle. So we're going to rush into basically a charge attack. Extreme heat, and make sure we hit him. Oh, I didn't hit him. Good. As you can see, the ragdolls in this game are great. It's the long one, but we'll cancel out after the set. And then for the rest of them, because of collateral, we'll do fronts. He is going to be the last of our high HP defense guys. Come out while we can. But again, throws are just really good for a bunch of enemies like that. And not bad. Nagamo does a dom, and you'll be hearing that a lot during the run. Nagamo does a dom and walks into a sauna and takes his mask off because it's too hot. Oh, hey, Somiya's in there and knows it's us. So now we go after Somiya. Nagamo is dealing with Master Zoe. And you'll see certainly something interesting about Somiya. For someone who's so high up in the Tojo clan currently, he has no ink like a traditional Yakuza. Somiya has a belief that traditional Yakuza these days don't need ink to assert their power. The Yakuza of these days are a lot different than the Yakuza of Kiryu's day, which is basically his ethos. We want to deal with these guys first because obviously they're big and nasty. More so than the mini-boss, because the mini-boss just hit the plant twice. Ideally, again, we'll grab the big plants. The little the little weapons aren't too bad, but they're not tables or plants that are basically massive wide sweeping area, which is what would usually use. Just the last guy left. It will be quicker to kill him to walk over here slowly. So, this is a potential little problem. It probably won't be. There's certain triggers in this game that are a little funny. When you skip through this battle, I'm gonna grab this for safety. Sometimes this trigger won't load. It did this time, which is nice, but you'll probably see one or two other triggers later on that won't. It's a little weird. And now we fight Soviet in his briefs. Again, another absolute banger of a fight. We're gonna grab this lamp and do a heat attack. He's gonna chug on a drink real quick. This is why we want to do the heat to stop him and basically get him up faster. That way he won't be like locked into like defense or animation, etc. These seats that we were picking up on the side are the quickest way to take care of them. And thankfully we managed to keep this one. Don't hit him straight away. Any boss that has a mid-fight heat, like that, basically has a whole bunch of defense and iframes for a while. So you want to chill, because all you're doing is basically getting rid of the durability of your basic equipment. Equipment in this game, because it's on a new engine for the first time, Golden Rule is free. Everything has free durability, with one exception. Benches. Benches have a durability of 3. They break and get an extra 3 durability. Whereas older stuff in the older Yakuza engines, like bikes, used to have 3, break for 3, and get another 3. However, they're now just 3. At least in Yakuza 6. But basically, benches, and they're only in like 2 certain places that will be utilizing the run. They're the go-to weapon if you can get them. They're the OP weapon. Like, combined with the CC Lemon. But basically, we met with a guy... Okay, so we met with 2 guys. We'll call one of them Kurisu. He is the father of the second guy, Iwami. So, I'm noticing my internet is being a little choppy right now. If there are drop frames, that's on my end. I apologize. So, basically, Kurisu is the leader of the Yomei Alliance, obviously the big Yakuza in Hiroshima, and that's his front for Iwami Shipbuilding. Iwami Shipbuilding is what's supposed to be publicly a shipbuilding like routine, etc., is actually the Yomei Alliance. So they're kind of not hiding, but they're hiding in plain sight. Iwami, as we'll call him, is Kurisu's son. Kurisu is the name of a legendary Yakuza, which is basically the moniker, the hidden moniker of Iwami Senior. The frame drops, excellent. I'm just noticing my internet is being a bit spotty. If it does cut out, I can get my internet back very quickly. Joe, clan creator Joe, he just came back. He's just like, wouldn't it be a funny coincidence if you were to go back to Kamurocho and we do the clan creator? No, it wouldn't, Joe. It really wouldn't. So back to Kamurocho. Basically, Kurisu wanted us to oversee the pact between Somiya, second in the chain in the Tojo, to Koshimizu, second in the chain to the Yomei Alliance. By doing this, the Tojo and the Yomei will basically be the overriding Yakuza power in Japan, and it will basically shut out the Omi Alliance. Kiryu tells him to get lost, because he doesn't care anymore. I don't know why I did that. That actually might despawn enemies around here, which would be useful. There's usually an enemy spawn that's around this corner, so if that actually despawned them, which it looks like it did, that actually went pretty well. But basically, Kiryu, as he says, he's no longer 4th chairman. Yeah, he still has that, like, that reach in the Yakuza. He still has that legendary status. But he doesn't care. He doesn't want to get involved. So he tells him to go stuff it, to which point Kurisu is like, well, if this goes south, we'll just align with the Yomi Alliance. This is potentially you being a traitor to the Tojo clan. And Kiryu's just like, I don't care. And that's that. So Kiyomi, we find out, obviously we get back, she actually wasn't kidnapped, she went there on her own volition. She tells us that she thinks she might know who Haruto's father is. A guy named Tatsukawa, who is Yuta's best friend, who went to, ironically enough, Kamurocho to become a host. We go back to our old haunt Stardust here, which used to be owned by Yuya and Kazuki. Kazuki's gone missing. Yuya is now an office worker who we literally meet on the street, and they've been bought over by the Koreans. More specifically, this man, Jungi Han. Commonly referred to as the Korean Virgil because he looks like Virgil from Devil May Cry. Now, I'm not going to get into the pure specifics of who he is and his organization, but he basically... The Koreans moving in on Stardust and have been moving in on Kamurocho, the Koreans go by the name the Jingwon Mafia. And the reason why I'm not going to get into the specifics of that is because you're going to see them tomorrow. They're the big plot point behind Yakuza Kiwami 2, which will be running this time tomorrow, actually. So I'm not going to get into the big spoilers for them. We're going to grab ourselves a CC Lemon because we have a big old fight coming up here. But essentially, our old haunts and places here, the Tojo are losing their grasp on Kamurocho to the Sayo Triad, to the Jingwon Mafia, and basically, Jungi Han knows... Maybe not by fight. Dude, uncool. I only have a finite number of fights. This a whole bunch of brutality is really good. Okay, you need to stop, sir. Sometimes this guy can be hyper-aggressive in this kind of training. But basically, Jungi Han said that Tatsukawa used to work for him. Now, one thing I will say about the Jingwon Mafia is the Jingwon Mafia never forgive and the Jingwon Mafia never forget. So, to put it simply, there's beef between the Jingwon Mafia and Kiryu, and they don't like him. So, Jungi Han, he's salivating at the bit to fight Kiryu. So, we're going to go over to Stardust to find out where Tatsukawa is. Jungi Han is basically going to tell us that he wants to fight us because, you know, legendary Dragon Dojima, the guy who took on the Jingwon Mafia, caused a whole bunch of stuff, etc., etc. However, Kiryu rightfully says he's not going to get into a ring made by his enemies. Yuta does. And Yuta, unfortunately, gets the absolute ever beaten out of him, causing Kiryu to get angry, and Kiryu step into the ring. Now this is a good fight theme. So I'm going to extreme heat really quickly. He's going to block this one. I'm going to drop it here. Again, hit by 2 Ts, we have to go through. Now that he's one hit from going down, basically. Jungi Han actually, you'll see him a bit more. You always play. Jungi Han basically has an annoying counter, which is why you want to extreme heat at the start, to make it so that when he goes into his heat mode, he rarely does that counter. He only does it, very, very frequently when he goes into his heat mode. So that's why you really want to try and take him down as quickly as you can. So basically just doing a tiny combo just in case you get the same attack that I did. Then doing an extreme heat gets him basically into, okay, he's going down. But Jungi Han, he actually shows a little bit of respect to Kiryu, even though bad blood. And actually tells us that Tatsukawa, he did actually used to work in Stardust. And he tells us where we can go and find him. We're going to skip through a sub-story and go over there real quick. I'm just going to have to mute my microphone for 2 seconds whilst I cough a little bit, so excuse me for 2 seconds. Alright, sorry about that. Again, do apologise if I sound a bit like... If I sound like I'm struggling for breath a bit and I sound a bit exasperated. I'm currently getting over a pretty nasty wintry cold. not quite the flu, but you know the type. Really nasty head cold, and coming off it, you know, when your throat starts going, etc., etc. That's the point where I'm at. So, thanks to Jugi Hand, thanks for Tatsukawa's, we're going to go over there, and we are going to find Tatsukawa. He's a little dead. He's a little very dead. People saw him coming in and out here with various different ladies, and basically he had a lady over, and she's dead as well. It turns out that a certain lovely guy who goes by the name of Ed, yes, that Ed from way earlier in the game, about an hour ago, killed Tatsukawa. And we don't know why just yet. So we now decide as Kiryu to go and find Ed. But we've got a big old set piece coming up in this chapter as well. I actually have quite a few coming up in the next few chapters. For the most part, the interesting thing about Yakuza 6 actually is that it's, especially as well now that we can skip like pretty much all of the cutscenes because of the new engine. For the most part, the game is essentially a boss rush. Like, you've got these little bits here and there in between, but it's mostly going from boss A to boss B. And there's only 3 bosses in the game that you only fight once, including the final boss. I'm gonna risk it. So you can see at the bottom right, the game was still loading in. Because the game was still loading in, there should have been an enemy spawn on top of that taxi, but because the game was still loading it in, we were able to just use the taxi instead. Which is pretty useful. Sometimes they can just spawn around you. That's annoying. Now, I haven't gotten any buffs for a reason. Hi, Joe. No, I don't want to do the clan creator, Joe. Thanks for taking us to the middle of the city, Joe. So, unfortunately, basically you can do the clan creator in Kamurocho as well. We're gonna... This isn't the fastest way out, but it's the coolest way out. So we're just gonna jump on this side. What's going fast when you can look a little cooler, right? But basically, we can now do the clan creator in Kamurocho if we want to. We don't want to. Not in the speedrun. It's very, very slow. We're going to grab a CC11 before we go into Serena. Use this one again. I'm just going to make sure I pop it before I go in there. We need this to last a reasonable length of time, not like a huge amount, but... Basically, Yuta and Nagamo, obviously, they knew Tagashira. Not Tagashira. Tatsukawa, sorry. Tagashira, they know Tagashira, of course, but he's alive. But basically, they're kind of in shock, you know. They saw the body of their friend kind of gruesomely murdered, which, that's not good. And... we, again, like I said, get the idea that we're going to go and see Ed. And to be able to go and see Ed, we need to go find Akiyama. So, we can't get hold of Akiyama still because his loan office was shut down. So we're going to go to the last place we saw him, which is in the sewer, where we kind of led the Sayo Triad to earlier. And you'll never guess who's waiting for us. It's a Sayo Triad. So there's only the 4 of them. They're after Akiyama, they'll take us as well. Again, just like with the Ed fight earlier. Grab a nice piece of equipment. Knock them down. It's hard to get them all in one hit. If you do, that's like the most optimal way you can do it. But their AI likes to move around a lot, so it's very rare that you will do. Most of the time, like 90% of the time, you'll get them in 2 hits. If it's any less than 2 hits, something's gone horribly wrong. So we come out here. You can't actually go out the other way, even though it's closer to the next point. It's actually blocked off for some weird, bizarre reason.
桐生だ。
Akiyama gets in contact with us thanks to the hobo down in the sewers.
やっぱあいつの言うさようか。なんだ。
Akiyama says that it should be in the middle of Malaysia, where the Sire Triad are obviously based. Now, Akiyama wants to meet us ahead of time. Tells us not to actually get followed this time, so we're going to go to the Apple Hotel, which thankfully is right here. We have to go around to the front. It's one of those area triggers, which is nice because this spawn here on the right is usually here. Sometimes it's walking towards you, so you do have to at least walk forward and go into the actual trigger. Kiryu notices he's being followed for once, so we're going to go and, quote, ambush our followers down this alleyway. Next to what used to be Mac Bowl, there is no bowling in the new engine yet, not even in Kiwami 2. Possibly not even in Judge Eyes, which is a shame, because bowling is really good in the Yakuza series. So we're going to go down here, and surprise, surprise, we were being followed. Mysterious assassins, which, oh hey, there's a bike. You can't tell what I'm about to do. These guys are annoying because this guy at the front likes to run forward. Killing the entire, like, enemy in 2 hits is really good. Because that last one usually won't move away. So, turns out, they're with the Tojo. Keeping an eye on us again. Unfortunately, here's a sub story we can't get past it. A good bit of product placement. Right. Ever wanted to get Swole? Go get a Rise Up membership. Thumbs up. Something like that. We don't actually want to get a Rise Up membership in the run. Interestingly enough, the first fight that you get into after you do the Rise Up training, you actually have a big attack buff. But there's no good point to do it. And if you do the Rise Up training, you actually get into another sub-story after this, which then spawns a kind of mini raid boss around town. So you don't actually want to do it because it wastes a whole bunch of time. Also, good old Club Sega over there. Speaking of like side activities in the Yakuza games, Club Sega over there has a whole bunch of really old Sega games. In this game, you actually have the likes of Super Hang-On, Space Harrier, and you even have some newer stuff such as Virtua Fighter 5 in its entirety with online, and also Puyo Puyo, all things. And that's just a small selection of the side content that the Yakuza games offer. The Yakuza games have these really great plots and these really great set pieces, but the other half of the Yakuza games you don't get to see with the speedruns, unfortunately. It's just how much great side content there is. This is a good fight spawn, right? I should probably talk about fight aggro, because I haven't yet. If you have a set of enemy aggroed on you like this, no other enemy sets can actually aggro onto you, whilst the first set of enemies is aggroed onto you. So say there's an enemy spawn walking towards us here, they wouldn't be able to get into a fight with us, which is absolutely fantastic. And you utilize that in numerous ways in the different Yakuza games. In Yakuza 0 in the Kiwami, for example, there's actually these 2 really nasty raid bosses that can actually end your run if you're not careful. And if you have a set of enemies like aggroed onto you beforehand, the raid boss won't actually aggro onto you. So you can use that quite strategically to be able to like shake off aggro and not like get into fights by running into them. So we're gonna try and keep this CC Lemon going as long as possible. I'm actually gonna do an upgrade ahead of time. I'm gonna boost our attack massively because I noticed in the Somiya fight I was lacking damage a little bit. I think I was lacking damage because I missed out on one of the vending machine upgrades. So this is just me basically getting my damage back to the point where it should be at this point in time. But basically, we're going to go over to Little Asia. We're going to meet up with Akiyama. And we're going to go and see our old mate, Ed. So, there's a little bit of speed tech here if we can pull it off. It's very, very hard to pull off. I'm going to walk into the front of Akiyama. He's going to run forward and hopefully trigger the dialogue. Yep. More importantly, hopefully we should be behind him. This might be a little finicky. Get in front of him. So if we can get in front of him here, he'll run and he'll push us along, pushing us and him to the next trigger point a lot faster. That was pretty good. It's actually really hard to pull that off. It's a little finicky because his AI can like kind of walk forward quite fast. We are kind of locked into like little follow sections here and there, so we can't run. We can't go in front of Akiyama here either. Like, you can see me stopping. I'm not personally stopping. There's an invisible barrier around Akiyama. There are some healing items around because we are on easy. And as I said, even though we are on easy, trust me, there's a high chance of death in this run because of these new strats that we have. You'll see. You'll see as of the next chapter. Heck, you might even see in this chapter if Ed decides to be Ed. Sometimes Ed decides to be hyper-aggressive because Ed is a wonderful human being and I love him. Now, here's an interesting one. Here's a slight mini-boss. A very, very angry chef for some reason. Don't know why he's carving this meat so aggressively, but... yeah. If you go over here before Akiyama actually tells you to, you'll get into a fight with him. It's actually slower to do the fight, even though you have an attack buff and there's a bin in the corner that you can use as a weapon. It's actually just a lot quicker because once the fight is done, you're then in that corner and you have to walk all the way over to this door. So it's kind of weird how this actually like worked out as being just a slightly bit faster. Essentially, Akiyama decides to dab for some reason.
Kiryu-san.
You wait. That's it. Gotten past the nasty chef. Now, Akiyama and his AI here, for some reason, does a little circle at the end, which is nice because we can just sneak past him and go ahead. It doesn't matter too much because we get taken over here, but we don't get stuck behind him on the stairs at this point. Akiyama says don't get caught. Akiyama gets caught. Charge attack. Takes care of one of them. As soon as one of them gets taken care of, the chef comes to find out what's wrong. Again, charge attacks work really well on the chef. You see how much damage that does? I don't like that. Now, he has a blade. Blades you cannot guard against with base hero. There is an upgrade. I can't remember if it's in this as well, but it's in Plan 2. You can block blade attacks with your weapons. If Akiyama can finish off the other guy, this will be a really good place. No, he didn't. So once all the enemy are dead, you then have to walk. So I really wanted to be near the door so that we wouldn't have to walk all this way. But Akiyama struggled to basically kill the guy. Well, it looked like we broke one of the shells, making it a tiny bit faster there. I know why we don't just knock him out like everybody else, but Akiyama is going to deal with that guy. We're going to go over here to go and find Ed. Now, this is actually doubles as a Chinese restaurant, which, yeah, you know, you're just trying to enjoy your food, and this masked man in the balaclava just jumps through the window. You know, as you do. We did kind of knock the chef out, so I'm not quite sure how they're going to get their meal. Oops, me. Where the meat? So, we're going to go grab a chair from over in the corner. The chairs are actually... The chairs in the office supplies, either one is fine. The chairs is slightly better equipped. And you can see that because of the old cleaver that he has in hand, he can basically... he can basically stagger us quite easily. And we usually don't have our attack buff last for the next fight anyway, so that's pretty good. Having it last until here is the best. So, Akiyama catches up. We throw down a rope ladder to let up Yuta and Nagamo. Not quite sure why they couldn't come with us during all of that, but alright. This is one of those cutscenes that you just can't see. It's weird. For some reason, this is on. Rest of it's skippable. This one, not sure why. So, they're going to know that it's a little too quiet inside because they think it might be a trap. I'm going to take this for safety because we're doing a marathon run, just in case. Oops, not skippable. Again, this one's not skippable. Whole bunch of dudes. It was a trap. We want to aim for these two on the left first. These two are the most annoying. It doesn't matter which one you take care of first. Just be careful because they will knock you about when you grab weapons. These chairs are the best things you can pick up because there's so many enemies and they have such a good wide attack. There's a lot more from notice, which is good. Careful of the large lads, they have a drop kick and they will make you drop your own. That is a really... I'm blind. Excellent. That was a, despite that last one, really good room clear. Really, really good room clear. And a whole bunch of people come. They're going to hold them off whilst we go and have ourselves a little talk with Ed. And you can probably imagine how a talk with Ed goes. Now you get a whole bunch of his amazing fight theme. Watch this majestic man. I love this man. He is so good. Ed is an absolute legend. And we're going to make him fear chairs. Whoops. Well, I like that by plan anyway. But basically, we're going to hit him at like precise intervals here so that we trigger his next phase. And that he doesn't stab us. But basically, we talked with Ed, and he spoke about this thing called the Heihais, which are basically Chinese children born outside of the one-child rule. Now, I have to be careful here. I got to grab a chair real quick. Wait, and then hit Ed. If you don't wait, Ed will grab you and stab you. Wait. Oh, he got the early hit. That's unfortunate. If he does the early hit, he can make you drop your... Notice how much damage he's done. We're in the danger zone. But basically, the Heihais are basically a second child after the first child. That's going to come into play in a little bit. Better late than never. Here's Nagamo, Akiyama, and Yuta. Wait. 5 frames. Spin. That's okay. And then be very careful of the rest of these guys because our HP is low. And look how much damage that's just done. Safety heal, just in case. Especially with a large lad moving behind us. If he drop kicks us, that would be game over. So like I said, we're at the point where things aren't safe anymore. And they're about to get a whole lot worse. Again, we don't get HP or defense because it's just slow. Masazori turns up and introduces us to the head of the Sayo Triad, who goes by the name of Big Lo. I don't know if that's supposed to be a cheeky tongue-in-cheek reference to Ryuga Gotoku Studios' other title, their spin-off title, Binary Domain, with the character Big Bo. But Big Lo is basically the head of the Sayo Triad. He wants to meet with us, Kiryu, the obviously the ex-4th chairman of the Tojo. He wants to meet with us alone. At one point, he speaks Chinese to Masazori. Masazori understands Chinese. More interestingly enough, Yuta understands Chinese. Tatsukawa was the one who taught Yuta Chinese, and basically what Big Lo says to Masazori is they mustn't be allowed to find out the secret of Onomichi. That is very important. It's going to come back in a bit. Somiya here shows off something very interesting, where it kind of clubs over a different Tojo senior in the back of the head of a wine bottle, because that Tojo head was actually trash-talking Kiryu. And it goes to show that Somiya actually himself has a bit of respect for Kiryu, despite everything that he's done so far. So, Somiya came along and said he can't get like a one-on-one with the Sayo Triad because the Sayo Triad won't see him, because there's a suspicion from Big Lo that his son Jimmy Lo was killed by the Tojo in cold blood. Somiya says take him with you so that, you know, this whole big war doesn't get started. And we're going to take Somiya to go and see Big Lo. And we're going to go into our next big set piece almost immediately. Again, we want this CC Lemon to last as long as possible. And in certain segments, there's a whole bunch of NPCs that spawn, and you have to play like an NPC slalom where you don't knock into them, otherwise you start staggering, etc. Oops, I got too close to the taxi and didn't finish the game. That's what I was talking about earlier. And so the one time in the game you go to East Taipei Boulevard, so you have to be very careful. If you go to Pink Street, it's not too bad, but if you go to that, you have to walk for an extra 20 seconds or so. So we're going to a place called Shangri-La. It's an old soap land that we've been to numerous times. You'll see it tomorrow. It's kind of half destroyed thanks to a certain fight between the Dragon of Dojima, aka Kazuma Kiryu, and the Mad Dog of Shimano, aka Majima Goro. So this is kind of our fault. And Somiya kind of uses it in a way of like saying, your toxicity spreads this far, Kiryu. This is what you're doing to Kamurocho and the Tojo. But basically, these guys who we're going to be fighting here, they're all with Big Lo. They're protecting this place because this is a place that isn't controlled by the Tojo. And this is where Big Lo is basically hiding out. So, we're about to meet... Oh boy. We're about to meet an individual. He goes by the name of Hangman, or Hungman in the Japanese original. He is dangerous. No, I don't know why he's down here. Say hello to Hangman. He's a gimp who just hangs out in the bottom of Shangri-La. Who knows why? It's not actually explained, but here he is in all of his glory. Hangman is the very, very first dangerous boss. By doing that QTE quick enough, you can dodge that second rock. You're about to see why Hangman is dangerous. Hangman! And if you can get into the right position here, you can break both of those boxes in one hit. Hangman is the first boss in the game that can kill you in a single combat because of the equipment strats that we have. So we're going to cross over, and unfortunately for us, Hangman is going to grab Somiya and drag her down. If you get knocked down from the rocks that Hangman actually throws, you have to fight him, but you have to fight him again anyway later. So you want to not get knocked down. You can deal with Hangman quite quickly, and I hope we do here. The CC11, as you can see, does so much damage that you can just deal with him fast. This isn't the end of Hangman, and this isn't the dangerous Hangman. Yes, he's wearing some assless chaps. We are playing a Yakuza game. Apologies for the graphic content. But Hangman is dealt with. We want to try and get to the top of Shangri-La as fast as possible because of this attack buff we have on from That is such a good dropkick that hardly ever happens. There's such an acute, precise angle to be able to hit all four of them. Otherwise, essentially, if you can get the first two, it's very easy to get the first two on the left with a dropkick, and then just use the durability of the sledgehammer on the other two and the barrier. Here, one of these barrels, take care of them. You need a two-handed weapon to take care of the barrels. Hence why there's these sledgehammers like around. You can see this sledgehammer here that we need to grab ahead of time, or the barrels, because the barrels count obviously as two-handed. So I'm just gonna grab this. And again, you're going to start to see why we want these attack buffs. Look at how much HP this guy has. And look how much it disappears. He just goes. Because again, the power of CC Lemon. CC Lemon buffs are disgusting. Like, again, you've got a base 60% attack buff. And we really want it for this next fight. You see Hangman's down there. Just chilling. We did this. We actually did all of this. We were the ones who broke Shangri-La like this. We need it for Yoniyama here. He is a kind of sub-boss. He's not important, but he's strong and can do that. I Ideally, I would have got more of a spread of enemies there. Hopefully, Sonya deals with him. I want that guy because he's... Thank you. Thank you for that. But getting through that fight while still having the attack buff on is perfect. We have one last encounter for the boss. Somehow, and unfortunately the CC lemon doesn't last this long, which is a shame because it really would be useful. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna need it. Somehow, someway, guess who? Yes, it's Hangman, and he's somehow on the scene. This is the dangerous Hangman. Do not get hit by him. You don't have an attack buff, and if Hangman decides to kill you, he will kill you. So I need you out of the way. Good. If you hit NPCs, they will lower the durability of your weapon as well, so you have to be so very careful. Hangman has a combo that can kill you in one hit. Ignore that. That was my fault. So, sorry if the mic picked that up. That was... I don't know how that fell over when it's on the floor. Alright. So, we meet with Big Lo, and hey, guess what? The Tojo did kill his son, Jimmy Lo. Somiya wants to kill Big Lo to get the side tried out of Kamurocho, and we're just like, now that's annoying. There are two bottles in this room. The bottles are one of the other weapons that kind of act so different. The first hit is a blunt attack. When you hit them with a blunt attack, it shatters the bottom. When the bottom shatters, they turn into a blade. So enemies that are guarding can no longer guard. I did not want this ashtray. Take this ashtray. Somiya. Yours. I hate the ashtrays and the bar stools and their attack patterns. I'm just gonna grab the table instead. The table is also good. One thing I should have mentioned that is very, very important about Extreme Heat. When Extreme Heat is active, you cannot die. That's very useful for these strats, considering how close to death you can actually get. So, that's gonna come into play a lot later. It's gonna start coming into play now, actually, with bosses being able to destroy us. So, we basically deal with Somiya. Somiya gets a bit more respect for us and disappears. Big Lo confirms to us about everything about, you know, the Tojo killing his only son. And then also tells us something interesting. He tells us that Tatsukawa isn't actually the father of Haruto. So now we're kind of back to square one. However, we know something interesting as well. We get a call that says that Patriarch Hirose, aka Beat Takeshi, has kidnapped Haruto and has gone missing. So it's off back to Onomichi. You can't have Beat Takeshi in something without him being a very serious player. Talk to Nagamo and head off back to Onomichi. We're not getting attack buff just yet. We're going to get it when we're here. And even though it's not going to look like it, even though the quicker way to go to the Hirose family office is to go straight north as soon as we spawn in, it's blocked off. We are story locked right now. So all sub-stories are off the map, but we have to go via a specific pathway. So we've got to go over to the bar. Not the Hirose family office, sorry, I lied. The north pathway would still be the fastest, but we still can't go there. We can't go down the alleyway either, because there's boxes randomly there for once. Here's a bunch of dudes from the Yomei Alliance, trying to stop us all. They're also after Hirose and the bait. All of a sudden, Haruto is actually becoming a very So we're on a very small set piece here. Some amazing driving. If we can get a good dropkick here and a good dropkick here, nice. If you're slow on the first dropkick, that second group of enemies will split. So being good at that first dropkick is very useful. You just really want to get there fast. A bunch more dudes. Oh hey, it's a bike. Let me guess what we're gonna do with the bike. Bike shots. Ideally 2 hits if you can. If not, it's not a surprise because they can move and also they can get pushed away by the NPCs. You don't want to leave the NPCs. They can get stuck on these corners and you have to kill every enemy before the last car spawns. Can't really be a badass and staring a car down. Actually, remember when I said benches were really... Here's our first bench, on the right hand side. So again, benches have 6 durability. We have a whole bunch of like mini bosses here. 1 hit, 2 hit because he's solo. He's down to now 3. This guy, and unfortunately, there's this one NPC, Muto. Oh, please kill him. Nice. So Muto there. He has annoying aim. Half the time he will not move from behind that car. And there's certain NPCs over this new engine that will do that. There's one you'll see tomorrow in Kiwami 2 that is hyper frustrating during the fight. But essentially, I'm glad he moved forward there. That saves us a tiny bit of time. He never always does that. But we go over to Morino to try and find out where Patriarch Hirose has taken Haruto. We get a little backstory. We get a little bit of backstory on Kiyomi and Somiya's relationship, how that started, etc., etc. And basically, they have a kid together. They have a daughter. Somiya was kind of a nasty piece of crap to Kiyomi, and she had to abandon her daughter with Somiya to be able to get away. And that's why she's back in Onamichi. Like, she basically came back here to get away from him and away from Tokyo. She's going to disappear. We're going to now have to figure out where Patriarch Hirose is. You can get 4 different options from each of the gang here. The right one is Yuta. And again, for those coming in late, if you've ever watched the Battle Royale movies, you'll recognize You'll recognize who he is. Or the Japanese live-action Death Note movie, not the Netflix one. We're not going to talk about the Netflix one. And if you've watched some more Japanese dramas and comedies, you'll recognize the rest of Hirose's gang here. They have some very, very famous faces in this. And if you are joining us late, you'll see a very big one, especially if you've seen Battle Royale. So, once you've spoken to one NPC, you can then go to the point they suggested. Again, Yuta is the correct one. So we're going to go over here. There's a fight spawn that's going the correct way. However, this is one of those... Ooh, I'm glad he didn't see me. He was delayed a bit. This is one of the triggers that sometimes doesn't load, which is annoying. And it loaded for us. Yo. If it didn't load, we'd go down here, which wouldn't trigger this trigger ahead of time. But it has triggered this time, which is good. Go investigate Hirose's room. There's actually an interesting picture over there that you don't have to look at that shows Hirose with Takase Kurosu. Which, that's important later. But basically, we found a matchbox from a place called Snack Hourglass. We're going to go over and see if Hirose's over there. Here's a bunch of dudes. Grab this dude, throw him into the rest. Easy. Collateral. That is why you get collateral. Hitting enemies after the first enemy does exponentially more damage, which combined with that CC lemon buff in the top left, basically destroys massive groups of enemies. And throws in this game are disgustingly good. Like, throws surprisingly underrated. Lily actually set an amazing new Yakuza Kiwami 1 run, world record, just the other day, which used new strats that I didn't use, which basically combines throws right at the start of the game, and they're flipping fantastic, let me tell you. It's an amazing run. We're going to grab a very quick CC Lemon buff real quick, because it's definitely not a boss, Killerman. Again, don't get too close to the taxi, otherwise it'll cancel it out. But throws are low-key, after weapon attacks, some of the most amazing damage you'll ever do in the Yakuza series, especially this new engine. In this new engine, it does multi-enemy combat so good. Hey, remember Koshimizu? Yeah, I remember Koshimizu. He's back. And he's not happy with us traipsing around his turf. And unfortunately, he has a knife. So what we're going to do is we're going to delay him for a second by kicking him. As you do. Run over here, grab this bike, hit him with the bike. Try and hit him with the bike again real quick. So he doesn't guard. There's a mid-fight QTE. And fortunately, because we did this right, he's going to charge us, wait because of the hyper armor, and that's how you defeat Koshimizu quickly. With that last charge attack at the end there, you'll see that again later, you can hyper armor through that yourself. Either with a well-timed weapon attack like we did there, or by using your extreme heat at the right time. Plot exposition dump. Hirose was at the Ryunan Shrine up in the top left. He has Haruto with him, and he reveals that Haruto's father is Yuta. You know, if you have some well-known actor playing a side role like that, cough, as well as Beat Takeshi, you know it's not gonna stay quiet. So Yuta is the one who knocked off Haruka. Kiryu's a little angry, as you can probably imagine. Now, there's some other little bits of info in the even more pressing than that. Here's a whole bunch of dudes coming to get Haruto, by the way. Even more pressing than that, Yuta is actually the son, the Heihaise, of Big Lloyd, aka the Cyber Triad. And because the Turbo Man have killed off his son Jimmy Lowe, that makes his Heihaise, Yuta, into the next heir of the Sayo Triad. And because of the illegitimate son Haruto, they don't want somebody with half Sayo blood, half Japanese blood in the Sayo Triad. Basically, they want to kill Haruto. But, as you can see, guess who's back? It's the good old Jingle Mafia with Jungi Han. Making their own power play. And again, Jungi Han's beam is so good. Yes, I'm talking through it. Don't worry. You're going to hear it a little bit more in a bit. Jungi Han again real soon. So, basically, there was a hilarious cutscene where we threw the baby like a rugby ball, and we tried to get him to safety. However, the Jingle Mafia, that by Jungi Han there, actually got their hands on him. So Jungi Han now has Haruto, and once we've basically gone after him, or we're going after him, to be able to go and save him. Like I said, plot exposition dumps. Just you wait until the 45-minute plot exposition dump battle. Well, it's going to be hard to sum up with a cold like this, but our best. So we're going to go over to the Hirose family office to gather the rest of the gang to get off after. And there you can see our stamina run out. We just don't have enough with this stamina level.
I know.
So Kiryu, basically Yuta's just like, oh, I don't want to be a dad, etc. Kiryu punches him through a door. See? Kiryu basically, his anger is really starting to get higher and higher at this point. We're gonna go over to the docks. Grab ourselves. Am I gonna do this now? I'm gonna do this now. I'm gonna grab ourselves a few upgrades. Again, more vending machine drinks so that they last longer. And then I'm gonna see what's happening. Nice. This is gonna give us a huge damage buff for this chapter. So the CC lemon is now going to last a bit longer. It gives us another 10%. So we're currently at 80% extra attack over our base attack whilst we've got the CC lemon on. The two pieces of equipment are giving us an extra 55 attack. So we've currently gone over our natural limit. So we're basically pumping out damage, but again, because of the defense reduction on the equipment, we've got less than half of the natural defense that we actually have. So whilst we're absolutely destroying people, we can get destroyed. Look how much damage we've already taken from normal mobs. Again, throws are really good. If you can't get to like weapons and stuff like that, throwing a really strong HP guy around, it does good. That does good for dealing with enemies like that. So a whole bunch of these barricades around, they take 5 punches or 3 hits from a weapon. So I don't want to take the fight over to that cone because I want that cone to try and survive. Again, because we're in a marathon, I'm going to take this for safety. This is a toughness infinity. This is a max HP. That is very much for safety. Here's your tank shot. Oh, by the way, your NPC allies can sucker punch you like they just did there. Could you deal with him? Thank you. Usually they deal with their NPC before I finish my NPC. So that's kind of unlucky. I'm going to try a fast strat here that can get you killed if you do it incorrectly. I didn't even get it. I can't get it anymore. You've got a small frame window with that fall, where if you do a quick step, if you do a quick step, you actually go to the ground a lot quicker. If you do it slightly early, you can fall in the water as well. But usually you land just perfectly so that you can carry on moving. We've got less than an hour of the run left. I think there's only 3 chapters left. So that dude is throwing explosive barrels down at us, which the nice thing is those explosive barrels can hit his allies as well. So if we can kind of stay around his allies for a while, that's good. I don't want away from that where it kills me. Also kills allies. We don't really have too many things in the way of things to be able to utilize anymore. You see those sandbags over there to the left? Don't ever use those as you just see it. It stuns everything. Stuns your enemies, it stuns you, it stuns your NPCs. Don't ever go near those sandbags. There's a cheeky little bit here where if you can get him close enough, you can knock him off instantly, but that really depends on how your NPCs react to him when he drops down. So, Jungi Han will give Haruto back to us if Yuta kills his father to get the Saiyajin Triad out of Kamurocho, and so that the Jinwon Mafia can gain more influence. Obviously, Kiryu's like, so, grab this cone, again, 3 hits with this rather than 5 hits with this. It's just a slight difference. And then here comes segments of stupidity. Here's these guys hanging out by explosive barrels. Oh. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why, as an NPC, you decide that standing next to a giant explosive canister is a smart idea. But there we go. So, this is actually one of the scariest jumps in the game. You can die there very easily. I want to take care of these two. takes care of it. Even one-handed weapons you can't carry on ladders, so you can't keep that gun for later. And speaking of people hanging around in giant explosive canisters, here's these guys. Which for some reason, don't ask me, why are you all standing around these explosive barrels? They're just so conveniently placed. They all explode, and then in the cutscene... Oh no, it didn't go off. There's a second set of barrels that usually goes off and takes out another group of enemies. It didn't this time, which is... Usually those ones. So instead we're just going to have to grab some guns. For some reason, even though 3 hits are weapons and a gun is a weapon, it counts as a normal fist attack. I'm not sure why. So you do have to do 5 hits for that. So here is the dude who's been throwing explosive barrels at us the entire time. We're going to grab one and we're actually going to hit him. You have 3 hits until it explodes. Watching him guarding is a problem, so we're going to use... Oh, that was bad. Thankfully, that's not a lot of damage. I was going to get my flip off first. If you can have the CC movement buff here, you can kill him in 2 hits, but it doesn't usually go that well. Usually, as long as he doesn't block one of the barrel attacks, you can take him out with a single barrel. And because the last hit hits him, when he's in that QCE as his death, you don't take any HP damage. We get to Junki Han, who actually tells us that in him by Tatsukawa, which was a complete... Tatsukawa was trying to kill Haruto. So this is the Jingle Mafia's final flourish. Yep, we're doing the big old fight against Junki Han. So basically, Tatsukawa accidentally hit Haruto, which is not in the first place, and that's really bad. Alright, back to trance. Just gonna concentrate for a second here while I get his HP down enough. Okay, sometimes your QTE doesn't go on like that. My HP right now, by the way. This is why I've been gathering some backup items, just in case. Because again, these new strats leave you almost dead. I used the one that gave me health and heat, so as soon as QTE is over, I have 4 heat. I was gonna say, not the best time to taunt with you in hand, but... So, basically, Tatsukawa was the one who did the hit and run Haruka. It was a complete accident. He was trying to nab Haruto for Big Low, basically. Actually, I don't think it was for Big Low. I think that's a lie. But basically... Haruka's accident was literally that, a complete accident. After the fight with Junki Han, he gets shot by somebody that we don't see, and we also find out that Masazoe has also been killed. So, with all of this done, Yuta decides he wants to go and speak to his biological father, Big Lo, head of the Saiyo Triad. So we're going to head back to Kamurocho. Kiryu sensibly decides that the safest place for Haruto is with him. So off we go. Bit of frame dropping. It's not on my end, I don't think. From the looks of things. I'll ride this taxi so that they don't get into a fight with us. I missed a little bit on the plot so far, but like I'm trying to give like a condensed footnote version because the Yakuza games have amazing plots to them, like with some amazing twists, and they are very hard to sum up in the space of a speedrun. In certain, especially with the newer games where you can skip all the missions. So, Yuta basically has had an epiphany. He wants Haruto to live. He doesn't want, you know, him to be killed by the Sayo Triad, etc. So, that's why we're going to go to Kamurocho. On here, I think. Should be okay with my stamina, hopefully. Have to delay a little bit, just so that I don't run out of stamina before they catch up to me. And off to camera. Now, Yuta's not the smartest person. He has this wonderful, quotation marks around the word wonderful idea, that if the heirs to the Sayo Triad are dead, nobody's going to come after Haruto anymore. So Yuta has decided, and this will play out in all these cutscenes that we're skipping here, to go over to Little Asia and to basically die alongside Big Lo by, you know, setting the place on fire. Because that's, you know, a normal reaction to everything, isn't it? So we're basically going to go over to Little Asia and stop him from being an idiot. In pretty much the only way that Kiryu knows how. So he gets drunk, basically. He has a second bottle with him that's actually full of gasoline that he throws here against the wall and sets fire to the entire place. Don't know how. Just magic. But basically the entire place is now up in flames. So we're going to go back to the place that we had the big set piece in earlier. Fight spawn, that's pretty good. To Pink Street again. On the way there, we're going to get a phone call from Nagamo and the others saying that they found a will left behind by Yuta. So Yuta is fully intending to die here. Just gonna skip. I just need to mute my microphone for 2 seconds. Lovely little drop kick hit. Best way to deal with these guys actually throws. You can't pick these benches up unless you're in extreme heat, and they only have one hit. So they're not the best way. Guard. That guy. For some reason, this barricade is only 3 hits. Even though it should be 5. Don't know why. Chairs. The usual. Grab chairs. Hit dudes. I split a bit. That's not great. That's my fault. I should have gone for Nori first. And now this barricade is 5 hits. Here's a bunch of dudes just hanging around while the place is burning. That guy's got a machine gun. I hate this guy. Sometimes he'll get back up when he's dead and actually just hit the table. And who should we meet? For some reason, in the middle of a burning building. Ed. So we're gonna go grab another chair and give Ed a good old hit or 2. Again, wait for the iframes. That takes care of Ed for the 3rd and final time. And Kiryu rightfully goes, you know, you're in a burning building, Ed. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Just get out. And then Ed leaves. We never see Ed again. So, here's Yuta. We're gonna call him an idiot. And again, we're gonna deal with Yuta in the only way that Kazuma Kiryu knows how. We're gonna smack him in the face. Multiple times. Yuta can be a little annoying. These vases in the back, if you don't break them, are really, really good to use against him. Failing this QTE is actually longer. You think that it would hurt him, but no, you still get hurt yourself. And it's actually longer. Patience here, because he has a little bit of extra iframes. Also, he just loves doing that. So it's just extreme heat to make sure he goes down. Same flying through that desk. So, once again, Bigelow is going to bring up the secret of Onomichi. He's also going to say that he's not going to go after Yuta anymore. He's going to tell the Cybertrad to stop going after Haruto as well. That way, you know, he realizes at this point, no matter what he does, Yuta isn't going to take over the Saiyo Triad. Like, at this point, Bigelow, he's lost his son Jimmy Low to the Tojo. He's lost his other son to trying to manipulate him into the actual, like, taking over the Saiyo Triad. And he's basically realizes at the end of his, basically, tether. But he brings up another small little point. The secret of Onomichi. It's time to bring back that plot point. So, there is a secret in Onomichi that can absolutely destroy Kurisu and the Yomei Alliance. Bigelow basically pretended that he knew what the secret of Onomichi was, and convinced Kurisu that he knew about it, essentially ensuring that he survived, letting the Saiyo Triad run free in Kamurocho. Now, unfortunately for Bigelow, his son Jimmy Low nope, it's not this one. Never mind. Essentially for Bigelow, his son Jimmy Low, this idiot with his daddy issues, who just wanted daddy to notice him, basically went to Sugai of the Tojo and said, oh hey, let's start a fire in Little Asia. So the fire that happened in Little Asia whilst Kiryu was in prison, the fake war that happened to get Daigo in prison, was essentially all started because of Jimmy Low. Now, in this meeting that took place in that cutscene there, you can see there that Sunio was planning to use Somiya and Sugai to take over in Kamurocho anyway, take over the Tojo. Basically, Jimmy Low is the cause of everything. If Jimmy Low basically didn't want his dad to notice him, none of this would have happened. So basically, they were speaking in Chinese in front of Suneo Iwami. It's that the Suneo Iwami also understands Chinese. So Suneo Iwami, thanks to over a couple of drinks Jimmy Low blabbing that Bigelow doesn't actually know the secret of Onomichi, means that Suneo Iwami has Bigelow wrapped around his little finger. Henceforth why Jimmy Low thought he was getting, you know, a good deal by getting the Saiyo Triad into Kamurocho, but actually it was only for Suneo Iwami's gain, so that he can take over the Yomei Alliance and then take over Kamurocho and the Tojo clan. Plot exposition, dubs. You're probably not following along. Don't worry, it gets worse. There's a boat coming. So, at this point, the one thing that Bigelow's father before him, who worked with Kurisu, he left him a cipher. A cipher that does actually lead to the secret of the secret of Onomichi. He's given that to Kiryu, and we got to figure out what it is. But we're back here. back here to go and find Nagamo and everybody else and tell them that the guardian of the secret of Onomichi for the past 40 years, the person who killed Masuzo, the person who killed... I hit the guy with the gun. That's who I was. I went quiet for a second because he was the one I wanted to hit along with him. Essentially the guy who has been guarding the secret of Onomichi for the past 40 odd years without knowing what it is Patriarch Hirose of the Hirose family. That's why we're back in Onomichi. As I said, the Yakuza plots are very in-depth. Aim for this guy, even though the guy with the gun is alive, because he has an infinite gun that will kill us. And then definitely kill this guy because he has a gun. The typical rite of passage in any fight in a Yakuza. You want to take care of guys with guns, you want to take care of guys with blades, and you want to take care of guys that can stun. That's the holy trifecta. You want them dead first. Because otherwise, you're in for a lot of hurt. Because you're just going to get shot, get stabbed, you're going to get tased. Everything that's going to stun you in a fight that you don't want to stun you. So we also hear about... And I struggle to sum up this plot point a little bit. We also hear about the Fixer, Minoru Daidoji. He is somebody behind the scenes. He is the guy who basically shapes and runs Japan. Nagano doesn't want to believe that Hirose is working against us. So he decides to, take it out in front. Here's home. Hit this off so we can get him as low as possible. 3 points each. He's gone after this QTE. It's a little faster to lose the QTE, but considering this chapter's gonna go on for like the next 15 minutes, and we're not gonna have an opportunity to heal at some point, don't get hit by the QT that takes away half your HP. It might be faster in the short term, but it's not in the long term. So, here's a whole bunch of dudes. And then to actually use that flat pot against them, kicking it first. Here. Let's go if we can. Not too bad, not too great. So, now it's time to unravel the secret of Onomichi. Here is the cipher, you'll see it very briefly. Basically... there's one NPC who tells you about it. And he's on the way, but around Onomichi, and this is true in real life as well, there are these poem stones. In this segment, in Onomichi, there are 9 of them. Starting with this one. And they're real as well, they're very real. Like, they're actually, like, in real life in Hiroshima. They're all over. They're, like, kind of like poems made about the area by the people who, like, kind of live there. And basically, we're going to grab this Poseidon Power, because we're going to need as much infinite sprint as we can get here. So I'm going to hold off as long as possible. And we want to get all 9 poems. The cipher relates to certain kanji at certain periods, which obviously give us keywords. And those keywords will lead to a place when we've got all of them. As I said, there are 9 in total. If you don't have, like, any idea or you haven't figured it out, this NPC on the left here will tell you about the poem stones. He not so subtly hints that you should read the poem stones. These are very important to Onomichi's history, and you really should read all 9 of them. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So he's the kind of hint NPC if you haven't figured it out at this point already. But there's a whole bunch of them. I have a suspicion. This might not be the quickest way to do them. Now the trouble is, if this was the daytime, we could get a trolley car to go all the way down to the bottom, instead of having to run all the way back down. So that kind of fast travel option is out. But I've always been curious if there's a better method of going around this place. Because I feel like there is, and I just never figured it out. Oops. Basically. And I'm really hoping that I haven't missed a poem stone, because if I miss a poem stone, we're going to lose about a minute and a half to try and figure out which poem stone is the one we missed. And yeah, I missed a few at points, this one being the main culprit, which you think is a bit weird considering you go past it twice, but it's very easy to think, oh, I got that one on the way up. No, you didn't. This one is a little off the beaten path, and you can see why. It's kind of a weird... It's kind of a weird path, because some of these are kind of out of the way, as you've already seen. And it doesn't matter which one the last one is. The end point is the Hirose family office. Yo, did we just get a good spawn here for once? Sick. No, we didn't, because somehow that triggered halfway house. Half the time, they will be walking towards you and you have to fight these guys anyway. Ooh, money drops. We don't need money, but there's some money drops. Usually, sometimes if they're this spawn that we just got, we can just go straight to this and despawn. But not this time, unfortunately. So we should have 3 left, if we've done everything right so far. This is kind of like a small little chill part of the run. Not much goes on, we have to literally traverse the entire map. Some of the Yakuza games are better for this than others, in terms of padding. In terms of a game that has some really bad padding, and I'm not just talking speedrun-wise, but casually as well. The new Fist of the North Star game. It has some of the worst padding I think I've ever seen in a game in my life. And it hurts. In the finale, for some reason, you have to go around in a semicircle around the entire city without fast travel. For no reason. Because it takes you back to the original point. We get Green Dakara here because, again, infinite sprint. Like, if you listen to me moan about Fist of the North Star... Hey, and we got them all. Excellent. If you hear about me moan about Fist of the North Star, I will moan your ears off for about 30 minutes. Like Lily says, there's a point of the game where you get told to go to a rock, you go to the rock. You then get told to go back to the city where you came from. You then get told to go back to the rock, where you have to farm up materials. You then go back to town to craft the point, the thing that you got the materials for. You then go back to the rock. On the other side, whoops, is an NPC who tells you to go back to the original point in town, and then you go and do that. I went the wrong way, but I don't want to get their attention, so this is pretty good. There's a hard lock point in this game that can happen here. And I've had this happen, ironically enough, the only time it's ever happened is in a live marathon. So, fingers crossed that it's not about to happen here. But sometimes if you're in a fight and you go into this trigger, good, it worked, the game can hard crash. And there's a point like that in Kiwami 2 as well, weirdly enough. Do I still recommend Fist of the North Star? Yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, also yes. It has its problems. It's a lot shorter than the Yakuza games, but at its heart, it's 100% a Yakuza game with a Fist of the North Star. So if you do like the Yakuza games, get Fist of the North Star. It's good fun. You can't go wrong. It is literally Yakuza with Kenshiro punching beats. If that sounds good to you, it's a damn good. And despite all of my misgivings towards it, one thing of praise I will give towards Fist of the North Star, it has some of the best one-on-one fights in the entire series. All of them. Spin-offs. Mainline. Some of the best one-on-one fights. They are absolutely amazing. Like, Fist of the North Star does one-on-one fights so very well. Very, very well. And it's very much worth experiencing. Very, very much. And it's like a typical Yakuza game. You get so much content that you can deal with. So, my misgivings are more of a speedrun misgiving rather than a game misgiving. But I still have my slight... But I 100% recommend this. 100%. And actually, like, Sega's output over the past few months has been absolutely fantastic. You've had Kiwami 2... You've had Shenmue 1 and 2 HD 2 weeks before the end of August. You had Kiwami 2 the week after that. You had Valkyria Chronicles 4 recently, which, you know, that's fantastic. If you love Valkyria Chronicles 1, Valkyria Chronicles 4 is amazing. And you also have Fist of the North Star. Like, Sega's output for the past few months at the end of this year has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, absolutely phenomenal. And that's not even everything. But yeah, this came out April this year in the West. This has been out since 2016 in Japan. Tail end of 2016. The tail end of 2018 is going to be Ryuga Gotoku Studios bringing out a game called Judge Eyes, which isn't a Yakuza game, but it is set in Kamurocho, and it is the same studio, and it is the same engine, and features a dude from a certain organization called the Tojo Clan. Cough. let's just say cough. It's not a traditional Yakuza game. Oh my! It's going to be good, and they've already confirmed it for the West, which is such a resurgence this series has had. Like people have been saying like things about other companies, but you can't praise Sega, especially the last few years. Like Sega's output and the games they're putting out for the last few years have been phenomenal. And to be at the point where, with a Ryuga Gotoku Studio game, they announce it day one for the West at the same time as Japan? Right, look. Sega have been listening to the fans, and it's great. Like, that's why I love Sega games. Like, Sega listened to their fans, especially recently. Like, look at Sonic Mania. Look at how good Sonic Mania is. It's so good. Great, I don't want you to knock that barrel down. I'm kind of surprised you did. Good old 20 FPS. That's not the stream, folks. Yeah, that's another good point. The Sega ages stuff. OG Fantasy Star is coming. Like, yo, sick. Oh, this is actually not going well. Oh, they actually took care of the rest of them. That's good. That saved a little bit of time. We need this attack buff to last as long as possible. Would you believe I say those words in this run? But yeah, the Sega Ages title's coming soon as well. Like, there's a whole bunch of really great stuff that's putting out. You've got Puyo Puyo as well. Puyo Puyo Tetris. It's a really great game. Going high pitch because my is kicking up a storm right now. Essentially, we're basically here for the Secret Lord Amici. If you haven't already gathered, a big old set piece. And you can see that our HP bar is already down to a quarter. Like I said, these strats are dangerous. This is why I bought 1 million bentos. I believe if we die, we go back to the start of the set piece, so I will heal in a second. Because there's a nasty section about it here. So, members of the Hirose family are staying behind to deal with people. I'm 100% healing. Here's some dudes with some knives. Again, knives are dodgy. That was the light attack of the knives. If they do the heavy attack, please don't. If they do the heavy attack, you'll see how much damage they do. And there's a whole bunch more. What's going on right there? And that guy is more aggressive. We want to try and keep our attack buff and the knife with one hit for the next round. That's good. And it looks like we'll be able to do just that. You literally only need one attack. If you're a little squeamish, you might want to look away, because this is a little on the brutal side. there's a dude behind us. With his hand. He will kill us. So we're just gonna do this first. Ouch. He is not getting up. So, more dudes come. Nagamo's gonna keep hold of them for us. On the left here is one of the only healing items that actually spawns on the hardest difficulty legend, which is nice. It's a full HP heal, which is even better. And then we're about to get into 2 fights that are somewhat problematic. Want to grab this definitely for safety on the way through. I've not been playing that great. I'm actually 6 minutes over PB at this point, so it's not bad. So this guy on the left, Soma, he's the annoying one. What we're gonna do is hit this big lad on the way through, and some of these guys have knives. Our main aim is to get this barrel, or one of these barrels, because this guy, I hate him. You want to make sure to try and take him down, because he is the problem. He has a massive amount of dodge, he has a massive amount of guard, and he has that! A nice little somersault stun. And look at my HP already. Yep. This is an exceptionally rough sim, especially when we have very low tools. Gun texture. And if I was to tell you that that wasn't the danger. Hey, remember when I said that anything that has beat Takeshi in, he's not going to stay quiet? The man who's been guarding the secret of Onamichi for 40 years. Yeah. We're fighting Beat Takeshi of all people. Hirose has a knife, and he is nasty. He can throw the knife, he can stab you with the knife, he can kill me with the knife. So I do that with a charge attack to get a little bit... Oh no, that's real. I want to try and get this heat attack off before he goes into the second phase. I'm gonna heal because if I fail this QTE, I die. That's not ideal. So please ignore me while I eat some bentos. Going over to the northwest corner sometimes makes the QTE go off a little faster. This happened again. And the next one will be the last one. And he'll be in his heat mode, which is bad news for us. Again, charge attack, plus he's got his iframes. Be very careful. That's not being careful. I'm gonna try and hope that he runs to the barrels with me and doesn't throw knives at me. He now has a counter. He has a very, very nasty counter. We also need him to do his QTE because, surprisingly enough, this one here is the mid-fight QTE. Now we'll make sure we get it. You can grab the nice things like that. He didn't mess me about too much at the end. Hirose can mess you about really badly. Not a great Hirose fight, but not a bad one. I'll take that. I need a drink. Give me 2 secs. Did you see that in the background? Say hello to 45 minutes of plot exposition about that boat. Now, if you know anything about the war, Japan had to stop making their battleships. That is the secret of Onamichi. It is actually the Yamato Mark II. That man right there is the current Kurisu, who his son Iwami wants to take the title from. This is now present day. This is Iwami here on the right. You haven't seen him before, but you have now. You'll see him again real soon. But basically, behind Minoru Daidoji's back, the fixer, to try and keep him in his pocket, Kurisu kept the production of the Yamato Mark II going with the Heiheizi that were brought over by the Sayo Triad. Kurisu has basically committed complete political suicide. Everybody knows now about the Yamato Mark II. The media are all over it. And because Kiryu was the one who showed off the secret, Daidoji wants him dead. Daidoji is ordering everybody to kill Kiryu at this point. Because Kiryu is the one who unearthed the secret of Onomichi. Unfortunately, Kurisu kills Hirose. And now we're basically dealing with the aftermath. And Somiya wants to meet with us. So, off we go to the docks to talk to Somiya. But basically, if you know about, like, obviously wartime politics and stuff like that, I won't go into them in too much detail, but basically the Yamato Mark II should not exist. But there it is. Big old warship. So, Somiya has actually done us a solid. Somiya, in his infinite respect for Kiryu, and who Kiryu is, actually, I should have done that. Actually tells Kiryu about Daidoji the Fixer, and about everybody coming after him to try and kill him. And Somiya doesn't want to do that. Somiya, in his respect for Kiryu, basically doesn't want to fight Kiryu. And now here's the Omega Lights. Yup. Now dudes have rocket launchers, so we want to try and take care of this guy in the middle, the mini-boss. I did not want to break that bike. That's a shame. Well, just have to deal with the rest of them. If we manage to keep that bike, or at least have one hit left on it after we dealt with all of these guys, we'd be able to keep the bike into the next 7. So by not getting the bike, we lose about 20-30 seconds here. There are bikes at the end, as you saw there, but they're really slow to get up. There's another enemy set spawn behind us. And if you take the bike into this bit, it fully heals the bike. Just gonna take care of these. These guys took care of the others, thankfully. And now, for some reason, the bike respawns. So now we can go get the bike again. Why do we don't break? I didn't respawn. Excellent! Excellent. I've done a bad. Unfortunately, there's no other good weapons around here, so take care of this guy. He's the annoying one, wants to be like a kind of mini boss. Got rockets. Throw this guy to take care of some of these. They'll take care of him. They'll take care of him. They'll take care of him. Thank you, Sakashura. He just required one punch. That was all you had to do. Didn't need the theatrics. So, this is the point where we're leaving Onomichi. This is your final bit, as you can see in the top right. This isn't the complete point of no return. You can actually come back to Onomichi. But storyline-wise, this is us leaving Onomichi for good. Whoops, almost forgot. I got confused because remember when I said earlier that the taxi's only changing 1 point? That's the finale. Because the top taxi is returned to Kamurocho, which isn't actually the trigger. You have to come back here and do this trigger to go back to Kamurocho. Otherwise, you won't be in the story beat. Oh well. So, we've decided to go and end it with the Tojo and with Sugai and Iwami. We're too far gone at this point. They're trying to kill us. We can't run because they're basically using our loved ones as hostages. On one other important, very important little fact, Haruka's awake. Haruka, who was in the hit and run at the start of the game, is finally awake. So we're going to go and visit her real quick now. Whole bunch of nice, touching story moments. We basically say, you know, we're gonna go and deal with this to make you safe. You're gonna have to go and find a safe place to go to right now. Akiyama comes in and we're like, Akiyama, can you protect Haruka for us? And he's like, heck no, I'm coming with you to beat people up. And then for some reason we decide to take Yuta with us as well. You know, just gonna take on a massive Yakuza clan with the father of your baby. Don't worry about it. You've technically seen us do this before. So we're going to very, very quickly grab a CC Lemon here. Actually going to do our final upgrade. Max our attack. Go to skills, go up to vending machine, drink. Whoops, not luck. Luck only affects the mystery drinks you can get. Yes, we're leaving everybody with Date, including Haruso. Date has never ever let anybody get kidnapped in his life. Ever. Certainly didn't let Haruka get kidnapped 3 times in the original Yakuza 1. The space of 1 game. Everybody suits up. It's time to go find Sagai in the Millennium Tower, because you can't have a Yakuza game without going up to the Millennium Tower and blowing the place up. A Yakuza game without the Millennium Tower blowing up isn't a proper Yakuza game. It's a little hard to differentiate between dudes here, so again, grab dude, throw dude, everyone goes down. Look at the damage. That's insane. That was a really good start. Really, really good. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take care of the 2 big dudes. First guy's going to go down. Second guy won't go down, so we'll hit. And then we're going to leave the rest. We're going to leave the rest for hopefully the others to take care of it. Because by the time we're dealt with these guys, they'll come down to these guys. Sometimes they can be interesting like that. Everyone's gathered up. Hey, that's not it. What's supposed to be? Hey, no drop kick. There's healing items over there, as you can see. Now, there's something about this place, and I'm probably not going to try it, considering, you know, the max. There is a quick strap coming up in a little bit, and with regards to that quick strap, if we pull it off, it saves about 10 to 15 seconds. It's a pretty good strap. If we fail it, we lose 7 minutes. So, for the sake of the fact that we're doing a marathon, let's not do the quick strats. But we can still have fun on the way there. We're obviously, you can see there a load of them, Nagamo, Takashira, Matsunaga, they're going to stay behind. We're going to go up to this guy and grab that grenade. So we're going to do grenade strats. Wait here for a second. Don't knock them away. Nice. Grenade strats basically has them stay by that grenade so that you can just run ahead and just jump over that. You can't go over that barrier until they're over. These dudes have rocket launchers and they can stun lock you infinitely. So don't deal with anybody. Get over to these 2 and make sure you end them before they fire a rocket. That's a worry. Fine. I was hoping he would die, that's why I was watching, because I wasn't 100%. And these guys haven't dealt with a single NPC at all. Fantastic. They're literally just watching. Usually they're good enough to at least take out 2 or maybe 3. But, hey. NPCs being NPCs. Please don't block. Again, I hate these chairs. Yuta does a dumb thing. Yeah, I don't know why he went forward first, nor without looking. So, we're gonna deal with him in the best way possible. Grab the step. So, unfortunately, Yuta's down for the count. Akiyama is going to have to be the one that looks after him, whilst we alone got to deal with the Tojo man. And incoming amazing Yakuza 3 reference. Even Kiryu comments. It's always helicopters. So deal with the machine gun guy first. If you don't, he will kill you. Straight out. With this little defense, look how much damage the chair. Right? Now imagine how much a machine gun and how much a Gatling gun on a turret is going to do. This is why I bought extra healing items just in case. I haven't been playing well today. That's going to break this barrier. You can break it yourself, but you will get hit by the helicopter. That's one of the fast strats, but it's not the fast strat. It's too dangerous to actually ever. The guy's in there. Be careful. Again, because I'm not doing very well, I'm going to grab this CC just for safety. I have a whole bunch more dudes to take care of. Just gonna take care of these. Hopefully grab one of these. These little stools are pretty good for dealing with guys. Unfortunately, we don't have them. Again, try and go for the big guys if you can, because they're the ones that take the longest, obviously, to deal with. I hit the wall, so that made him fall off. So I'm gonna head behind this pillar. Guard will make you stop instantly. Enemy spawn. As you probably already guessed, don't you go first? He might hit us, that's fine because it hits these guys, and then usually you can get a second rocket hit these guys. Do it. Good. What I want here is indeed a grenade guy to hit that. So I can hit these guys. Usually I get his grenade. That was close. Now the most important thing is to try and leave those two there. If we were going for the fast strat, we needed these two cushions to survive all of this. So don't use them, don't let them get grenaded, don't let them get picked up by the enemy, etc. Again, the guy has a machine gun. Take care of him first. And down here to deal with Grenade Lab. I wanted to grab the grenade from the switch first, unfortunately, so just do the oldie pro strats. Now I'll describe the fast strat because I'm not gonna try it. I threw it down to I don't trust myself right now. Two big lads. If we can grab this furniture on the right and position ourselves at the perfect angle, you can knock them towards not only the barrier, like so. When you hit them the next time, or for the last time, it breaks barriers. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Easy peasy fast strat. If we didn't do that, we'd have to wait about 20 seconds for the helicopter to fire off a volley, and then go after that. And if you fail that, because of how much damage you take, you lose 7 minutes, because this restarts you at the very start of this. So, I got fast strat off in a marathon. I'm satisfied with that. I'm very satisfied with that. I've been playing badly the entire day, so I'm very, very happy. Anyway, we're here for Sagai. Sagai isn't here. He's left somebody to fight. Oh boy. I hate this fight. One of the best fight themes in the game. This is such a tragic fight. Somia. We're gonna start from a charge attack, then we're gonna hit our extreme. So notice what all of the furniture is. Oh, he blocked it. That's bad. That's less damage. Let's try doing strong. Nice. Phase 2. Now I don't have extreme heat, so I'm going to use charge attacks to hit him, hopefully. Now he has extra damage and extra combos. Again, it's going to sound silly. I don't want those monsters. They're awful. Delay his QT a little bit. Nice. That's good damage. Because his final phase is the awkward. Here comes one of the game's best QTs. I should have mentioned actually, we're in basically the boss rush mode at the end of the game. This is the end of the set pieces, and we literally just go into the penultimate 2 bosses after this. So we're literally within like the last 5 minutes of the run. We're still in extreme heat. We gained a bit back from that. Don't go too close to those bastards. Don't go close to those bastards because you will grab them. Unfortunately, he gets our our stun attack. Do not get grabbed like that. That is almost instant death. And even though there's furniture at the back, you can't actually use it. You're dodging everything. This is why End Somia is awful. Also, your health goes into the next fight. This end game is disgusting. Down. This fight is why I get. Oh no! See that damage? See what I mean? Somia is ridiculous. I just lost a minute to that fight. If you have a bad Somia, he can just delay you so much. That fight is... Ugh. There's so much that can go wrong with that fight. And yet that's still better than trying to use the bar stools, because when he has his katana, he guards against them. When he's in his heat mode, he just hits you. You can't hit him with those bar stools. It's impossible. And then the dude just stabs you. I hate that fight. Anyway, we have to finish things up. We have to go and finish things with Sagai and with Iwami. So, Nagamo's basically said that, at this point, no one's safe. Everybody has to go away. We have to do our own thing. Which is Nagamo for me and Kiryu are going to go and take down the final 2 bosses on our own. I've got very little HP at the minute, but I should have enough bentos. Final CC lemon of the run. I'm 100% healing for this. Because we're about to get into a 2-phase boss into the final boss. So we have 2 boss fights left. I'm gonna... Sure. There you go. So we'll probably be done within about 2 minutes, if I had to guess. Hopefully. So, first up. Basically, they're trying to do the inauguration to turn Iwami into the legendary Yakuza Kurisu. And we're here to spoil the fun. Yeah, it's Koshimizu. So damn cool. So here's the interesting thing about this fight with Koshimizu. The only person who matters in this fight is Koshimizu. None of his ads matter. You do not have to kill them. You just have to get rid of Koshimizu. Obviously, they're going to get in the way. But as long as you can just take care of Koshimizu, there won't be any problems. Now they all despawn. Round 2, the trouble is, Koshimizu remembers he has a knife. This isn't the final boss, by the way. It's the one after this. Wait. Extreme heat so that hit doesn't hit you. Watch the damage. Look at how much damage you can do now. See the Koshimizu. That's a very good potion music. Very, very good potion music. Sagai and Iwami use Haruka to try and manipulate Kiryu and kill him. Guess what doesn't work? Which means one final fight. And the entire gang's now here. So get ready on time, I'll say when. It will be after his QTE. We'll probably, if I do it right, he'll only have one hit left. Hopefully. So, run, kick, gives you enough to get into heat. Hit it. This goes into the mid-fight QTE. Lower his HP again. Provided we do it right, of course. Which we did. Gives you 1 bar of heat. Extreme heat, so he doesn't grab you. And mess up a little bit. And time.
Wow, what an amazing run, man.
Just the cheeky little ragdoll at the end. And
Final time.
I'm not going to say spoilers. I'm going to skip all the ending scenes.
2:49:23.
Nice. Not bad. That's about just under 8 minutes behind PB. Which, considering I'm still recovering from a winter cold, I'll take that.
Absolutely.
I'll take that.
Absolutely. What an amazing run. Like, these games look phenomenal. And very entertaining run, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
You are running another game coming up tomorrow night, correct? Or tomorrow morning, rather.
Yes, it's Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is actually a remake of Yakuza 2, which is actually the 3rd game in the series, whereas this one was the 7th.
The numbers here seem to be confusing, at least for the casual, but
Yep.
I'm glad that we get to actually complete, because you did Yakuza 0 last time, so is this the entire story?
Yes.
Of this? Okay, nice. Okay, yes.
Zero was the start of Kiryu, then there's Kiwami 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this. So you've got the start and the end.
Right.
Tomorrow I give you the middle, and maybe a few tigers. You'll see what I mean by that tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. I can't wait. I can't wait. Again, Froob, thank you so much for doing these runs.
It's all good.
They're a lot of fun, and
thank you for
stick
having
around,
me.
everybody. We have absolutely, man. Mach and Ets with Ultimate Trainer coming up. We may have a bit longer of a setup just to catch up on some time here that we are ahead. So stick around.
Alright, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I'll catch you again another time.